Up? What's up? It is your girl, Survivor Speaks. Sorry I'm late, y'all. Y'all know I had to schedule. I scheduled this live for 5:15. Had to reschedule it. Y'all know I have a family ongoing emergency, and I ran over a little late. And yeah, so that's how that goes. I am. Please excuse me for that. Hi, Slim Life, New Jersey. I haven't seen you in a while. Hi, how are you? Thank you for being here. Please hit that like button while you're here. Hope you can stay a while. Hey, Allie, what's going on? Thank you for always holding me down here in the chat. So we have been reading the transcripts so that we can definitely read verbatim what's happening in the courtroom in the Diddy trial. I'm going to say this right from the onset. This is a trigger warning. The testimony is hard to hear. This is not. What up, Allie? What up? Sorry about that. You know about the ongoing emergency, and yeah, things ran a little over today. So, trigger warning right from the beginning because this is hard to hear. This is the testimony, in court. We're getting updates about what's going on in the court, but then there is some information that differs, and then people's interpretations of what they hear may differ. So we have noticed that as I'm reading the official transcripts, and we are on the we left off on the Cassie Ventura on her testimony. Once again, shout out to Cassie Ventura for giving birth to a beautiful, healthy baby boy. Shout out to her for that. I was so glad that the prosecution was thinking on their toes when they, put her up first. But of course, the defense is going to try to use this to their advantage, which I don't think is going to be a good thing for them to do that, right? Because it's going to make them, you gotta, irregardless to, I'm sorry, I messed with my camera. Irregardless to, and it just changed on its own. So irregardless to what you may think or whatever, right? And so I don't think that trying to use that you guys want to recall her to the stand, knowing that she's pregnant. She just had a baby, because we know they know, right? Because they already said it. They already have been trying to prepare everybody. But along with that, if Diddy is an innocent man, right? Why are they trying to get everybody's testimony thrown out? He wants Kid Cudi's testimony thrown out. He wants Cassie's testimony thrown out. And I know that this is not coming from his team. This is coming from his direction. So he wants her stuff thrown out. Captain Clark, he wants her testimony thrown out. The judge is like, what? How about no? So, but his defense team has to, it has to seem like they're pulling on a defense for him. And to make them happy, they're going to do whatever he tells them to do. So if he tells them, let's try to get a mistrial, to have him go all that out. So from the reports that I got, the judge is actually tired. The judge is a little tired. Thankfully, the judge he's new to the federal court. So he's unbiased. He's done more for this defense and gave them more leeway than the prosecution. So at this point, what are we talking about? y'all, it is just so unfortunate that, this had to happen. Things had to happen to anybody, man, woman. They haven't introduced any underage children into this case yet. So, I'm not going to say alleged. I'm not going to say any of that. I'm just not going there because they have not. I've not seen anywhere or heard them say anything about any children. So we're just not going to go there. But I think it's pretty strange that, I don't know, you can watch footage. People have footage. There are people that stand outside the courtroom. It is a whole, they got a whole mess out there of people standing out there. So you have this guy that's actually out there and he's just filming all of the, what's going on outside. He doesn't go in the courtroom, none of that. His camera stays outside. He gets different angles. Hey, Rebecca Cry, what's up? What's up? What's up? Thank you for being here. So he gets different angles of everything that's going on outside of the courtroom. You do have some people out there that, are, talking about free Diddy. You have some people out there that are, heckling his family when they arrive. It is a lot. It is a lot. But his son Justin yesterday stopped. Yeah. Was it yesterday or the day before? To take a picture with this girl, and she kissed him on the cheek and she was screaming and hollering. Ah! And he thought it was so funny. They normally just walk past everybody directly into the courtroom. He turned around when he got on the steps and was just laughing and, whatever. But I find it mighty strange that they have been showing up to court in all black now. According to, the content creators, they have been staring down the witnesses on the stand. And nobody can assume anything, right? So I digress. I'm just reporting what they said they see. Things they are picking up on. So there you go for that. But like I said, congratulations to Cassie and Alex Fine on their new bundle of joy. Over here, we're going to just send out a prayer that the baby and mommy is okay. And if they do decide that they're going to call her back into court, she'll have at least she would have healed. I don't think it's a smart move though. But y'all tell me what y'all think down in the comments, because I just have no understanding. I mean, because the way this trial started, and I told anybody that has been watching that the prosecution said that they were building this case brick by brick, step by step. So they're going to go. They said it is something. It's in no particular order, but it is. To me, I believe that Cassie was a strong witness. She was. She's still fragile for everybody out there that it's just like I just start looking at people sideways. You had this man out there. He's out there every day, I guess. He's screaming about sovereign citizen stuff. That don't work in the court of law, sir. It doesn't work in the court of law. So I'm just confused. But yeah, it's a whole lot of stuff that is going on out there. But it's one guy out there that he's a big guy. And he's like, I've been around for so long, F Diddy, he needs to be in there where he's supposed to. And then I felt like, so there were rumors, right? There were rumors, of course. And I get the rumors, right? And I get that there are many people that have said some things about Puffy's mother, right? I get it. I get it. Like, I do. Two observations I'm gonna make. I'm gonna make an observation, right? That the lady is 80 years old, right? She's 80 years old. His mother is 80. But I want to say that, 80 years old, she was moving around like somebody like that was 50 and 60 when, Puff first got arrested. And a little bit before that, you couldn't look at her and tell she was 80 years old. So now when she arrives to court, it's like they are taking this woman is just so fragile. She's old and they're holding her up on each side. And I'm not saying that this case could be her son is facing life. So it could have taken a toll on her. I'm just making an observation. Before it wasn't, but she's 80 years old. I mean, she looks good for her age, but I don't, and another thing, I don't think that anybody should be heckling her. We don't have the proof that he got these things, the things that he are doing, that they were taught to him. We hear those rumors. That's nothing that we can prove, right? But I mean, unless you were there, but you got to still prove that you were there at these parties. Nobody has ever came out and said that they were at a party when his mother was throwing them. It's just a rumor. So for me, she's still an 80-year-old woman. She's still my elder. I don't think that people should be out there heckling her. That's just my thing. Now, if she is guilty of whatever they're saying she is guilty of, I still was raised a different way. I wouldn't be out there. I would be saying stuff in my head, but I wouldn't be screaming at her. You raised a monster. You didn't have a modeling agency. You were a madam. I was like, oh, and they have to walk past all of this. And I'm like, oh my goodness. Wow. Here's the thing for me, right? So his daughters were there when this trial first started. They walked out during opening statement because they couldn't take it. It was just way too much. They came back. They've been back in court one day. To see them walk out of court and people don't care. They don't care that those girls have nothing to do with what their father's going through. And to see how scared they look, even though they know they are, protected, they have bodyguards and stuff around them. I just think it's so wrong. I mean, if they're taking a family photo, that's what they're used to. If they're used to taking family photos, I guess they just want to feel normal. I guess. But I just, for the girl, I feel really, really bad for his daughters. Now, his sons, I don't even want to talk about them. Because that son, that Quincy, that look just not Quincy, that ain't his son. That's I'll Be Sure's son. So, not Justin. Yesterday I said, I keep saying Justin. It's like King Combs. That's what they call him. I'm going to call him Lil Diddy. Lil Diddy, yeah. He looks like he's a piece of work. He looks like he is a piece of work. But we're going to get into these court documents. I'm just trying to, I know yesterday I had a little meltdown about, breast cancer survivors and organizations. I'm not even going to talk about it today. I'm going to still bring awareness about breast cancer, but no, we're not going to go that way. So let me just see where we were. Before I do start the show, let's hear a word from our sponsor. I'll be right back. Because I don't know. I don't know if I rolled the daggone thing and lost my place, but I know where we were. So we'll hear for a word from our sponsor, and then we will come back and we will start the reading of the official transcripts from the United States versus Sean Combs, aka P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, Daddy's house. Yesterday, we learned that he wanted Cassie to call him by the name that she calls her grandfather, Pop Pop. Young Miami called Go Poppy, and my name for him is Diddy on top, Tucci on the bottom. So we're gonna come back and get right into that right after we hear a word from our sponsor.
And now a word from our sponsor. Survivor Speaks extends heartfelt gratitude to M Essentials for their generous sponsorship. From handmade soy wax candles for a cleaner burn to car and pet friendly room freshener sprays, they offer quality products tailored to your needs and do not use any dye in any of their products. Custom packaging is available upon request, along with a limited luxury line while supplies last. Visit www.nmenessentials.com now, and don't forget to subscribe and enter your email address for an exclusive 10% discount on your first order. What are you waiting for? Now back to the show.
And we are back. So I think I found where we left off, and so yeah, we're gonna get jump right into it. All right, so we were here, down here, we went through that. That's disgusting. I don't want to go. I'm not reading that again. Yep. Mhm. All right, we were right here because we did not read this on the bottom. And when I get to it, excuse me, I'm going to stop and give some commentary on this, because they introduce a RICO. They introduce RICO right here in Cassie's testimony. For anybody that felt like, okay, that's not a RICO. Part of the RICO is X trafficking, correct? We're about to see it. See, people are just hearing what they hear. Like some people that are standing outside the courtroom, they're not in the courtroom. They're not even in the overflow room. There is a lot of people. I'm like, wait a minute, nobody got lives? That's standing outside all day long, just outside. So yeah, they're not in the courtroom. They're, some people want to turn into who, they tune into who they like best, right? And that's not, a good thing. Like, just go on ahead and focus on the law. That's what this is all about. Focus on the law. That's it, and that's all. So a lot of people were saying, well, no, they haven't introduced RICO. They haven't introduced RICO. They haven't introduced any of these things. That is still not true. So yeah. So that is not true at all. I'm listening to something. I'm just trying to gauge something first before I start. Okay. All right. So let's get into the reading where we left off yesterday. Shout out to everybody that is over on X, formerly known as Twitter. If you can, I'm going to ask my moderator. She'll be back in a minute. She has had an emergency that's been ongoing as well. So drop the link over there in the Twitter chat so that you guys can, if you would, I would appreciate it. Just come over here and like the video on YouTube. Give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're not subscribed over here on YouTube. And you can still watch on X. I try to stream here on YouTube and on X. So if you can do that, I will greatly appreciate that. So yeah, hold on a minute. I'm trying to gauge something. It's just all right. I would appreciate it greatly if you guys come over here and hit the like button. So, okay, let's get right into it. So we left off right here. So I want to start where it makes sense. I'm going to just start this off from this page from the top. So, okay, so this is Cassie Ventura on the stand on direct. She's being questioned by the prosecution. All right. Trigger warning: this video is not for children. It is not. Please don't have your children in earshot, or anywhere near you where they can hear this testimony. This is not for children. And if you don't care about your children hearing this vile stuff that's being testified, I can't tell you how to parent. I just want to make you know. Well, I just want to make you aware in advance that this video is not for children at all. So. All right. So the question is, were there any other freak offs at his house? So they're talking about Sean Combs because they asked her on the previous page about a freak off being at his house, and she told them about the different states where he owns homes at. In those homes, he had freak offs. So they're asking her, were there any other freak offs at his house? She said, yes, there were others. Which of his homes did you have freak offs in? I would say mostly all of them except for Mapleton. Does that include his home in Miami? Yes. Does that include his apartment in New York City? Yep. And besides his home, what, if any, other homes did you have freak offs at? In my apartments, my homes. Which of your homes did you have freak offs at? I think all of them except for the Studio City house. So does that include the West End address in New York? Yes. Does that include 818 Doheny? Yes. And does that include 875 Comstock? Yep. And that's what they were trying to, that line of questioning right there, that is not even what I'm talking about. But the fact that I heard somebody say outside of the courtroom yesterday, people can sell their bodies if they want. It is their bodies they have a right to. It is called prostitution. Y'all over there on X, we can't say the word over here on Twitter, so I have to substitute. If it sounds a little off some of the words I say, that's because YouTube is really, 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 really strict when it comes to these type of words. But it's called prostitution. So you can't just be out here paying strange men. And another thing, this is what gets me, right? Because y'all going to see on the next page where these I can't even say escort, so child it and flag the description. These male workers, right? These paid male workers. Where did y'all hear where they was ordering them from? You invited these strange men into her home. What about when you're not there? Security rides by, so what? Because they always stalked her. Like security, he always had somebody on looking at her every movement. And you know what? I'm gonna just say this because we're not going to get to this probably until we get to another day. But I will say this: Quincy, come to the carpet. Bring it down to the carpet, Quincy Brown. Yes, there is no way on this earth that now you're sitting in the courtroom of law showing solidarity for this man when in court they introduced your mother, and I hate that she has to come up in this case. May Kim Porter continue to rest well. But there is no, I would not step foot in this courtroom another day in my life if I was Quincy. They just introduced yesterday that your mother was having freak-offs with this Fruit Loop. There's no way, y'all. There is no way. No way. You would never see my face another day. And that's just that on that. You put my mother through all of this stuff that you put all these other women through, and it's coming out, regardless as to whether they want to sit there and act like, oh, they're all lying. No. The girl that got on the stand today never said anything about what he did to her because she was embarrassed. She never sued him. She don't want anything, nothing. And he held something over her head. And then it is so much coming out in this trial. And that's why he's asking that everybody's testimony be thrown out. Straight narcissist. Straight ego. Straight God, like he has a God complex, like he's God. You're not. You're not a king. You're not acting the way you act. I didn't know kings beat their women. I didn't know that. So you're not that. He's not that. But there is no way on God's green earth that I will be sitting in court and hearing these people testified that your mother was going through the very same thing that these girls was going through. And he ain't my daddy. He not my real daddy. I don't give a, he stole your mother from Albie Shore. I don't give a good God. I don't care. There is no way I would step foot into another courtroom to show my face to defend this monster, to sit there in solidarity with this monster. You have two daughters, you have two sisters, and you have the little Diddy is your mother's children. You can see them outside of this courtroom. You can protect them outside of this courtroom like you have been doing with your sisters. But there is no way that I would step foot in the courtroom another day to show him any support once that came out. No way. And if anybody watched the Chopper interview, he don't talk to Gene Deal. But he recalled the time Diddy put his hands on Kim, and the way Chopper said that he poked her. Do y'all remember Diddy was wearing that cast? Yeah, Gene Deal tells the same story, but he tells what he poked her with. She poked him with a wine cork, almost cut his artery. She got tired. I'm tired of you putting your hands on me for nothing. If I say the sky's blue and you say if you say the sky's red and I say no, the sky's blue, that for him, that would be cause to put his hands on these women. I watched some old videos of them, right? I watched some old videos of them on this boat. It was for his birthday. But you know what? Somebody testified to this on the stand. I think it is Cassie is coming up. Everybody was trying to uplift him. It was like he was sitting there in space, and and Cassie's rubbing on him like, oh my God. And then French Montana is on the other side, like all at the family vacation. You're always in the picture. French Montana, you got some explaining to do. But anyway, everybody's trying to cheer him up and make him happy. And so they start singing happy birthday. You're like, everybody shut up. Y'all gonna sing happy birthday to me? Y'all better be singing it to the top of your lungs. Now, Let's start from the beginning and sing happy birthday to me. I better hear everybody yelling to the top of their lungs. And they start singing happy birthday and clapping and all this stuff. And then his whole mood just switches and he's happy. Like, this stood up and started dancing. I said, all this is right before our eyes when we were watching these videos before we know what we know now, because it was just rumor. But to look at how they're testifying, how his mood would just switch, or however he woke up that day feeling, you better be ready for what the wrath he was getting ready to bring. I've watched a couple of videos and I'm like, oh shoot, I never would have paid attention to that before. Never. It's a lot. He's a piece of you know what, but whatever. I mean, people can believe what they want to believe. They've already proven their case. Let's get down to this, all right? So it says, and besides homes and apartments, at what other location freak-offs occurred? Hotels most. And in what cities did you have freak-offs with Sean and a male paid male worker? Listen to where they have freak-offs at. Because everybody says that that's not ex trafficking. That, you know, they're traveling within the United States. Open up your ears, listen here. She says, I'm gonna read the question again. And in what cities did you have freak-offs with Sean and the paid male workers? New York, Miami, Los Angeles, Atlanta, Ibiza, Spain, Turks and Caicos, random places. So for everybody that's saying, they didn't move a Rico, so what? Ex-trafficking, it gotta be, it's nowhere written where he traveled outside and paid ex-workers. What about Las Vegas? Vegas as well. So going through, you mentioned New York City. What are some of the hotels that you had freak-offs at in New York? New York would be the London Trump Hotel, Grand Marcy. Honestly, you name it, we probably did it there. Shall. What about the Intercontinental Hotel, 44th Street? Yep. In LA, what are some of the hotels where you had freak-offs? Hermitage. Look, it's probably out of my tax bracket. So listen, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right or not, but I'm gonna just try to pronunciate what I think is probably El Hermitage. Oh yeah, that sounds expensive. El Hermitage. All right, was frequent. Beverly Hills Hotel, the London there as well. Shutters on the Beach. You know, there's where else? Other places. What about the Intercontinental in LA? Century City? Thank you. Yeah. And in Miami, what are some hotels where you have freak-offs? Mandarin Oriental, Satai, Fontainebleau, the One Hotel. Yeah. What types of rooms were freak-offs usually held in? They were usually held in like a room that had like a living room that you could close the door, or like an extra room with an additional bathroom. So like a small suite, junior suite. He said he only get the biggest. Why you got a junior suite? A small suite. Well, she did say they travel in abroad. So listen, when I leave the country and I go, listen. I want the ocean view, and I'm going on vacation, so we gonna splurge a little bit. I like ocean with ocean. Ocean front only. No, we don't want no small room. No, none of that. You big pretender spender. Junior suite. Small suite, junior suite. Oh, you don't do nothing small. What's going on there? All right. Anywho, if you know, it's supposed to be who. We need to get it together. I don't know what's going on with the court reporter. There's so many grammatical errors in these documents, and they are the official documents. I don't know what's going on, but she needs to get it together. Who if you know? Okay, so that is correct. Who if you know booked the hotel room? It varies. Sometimes it was someone like Tony Fletcher on staff. Occasionally, I would book hotel rooms. Yeah. You see how I think she's still kind of stuck. Okay, so who, if you know, paid for the hotel rooms? I believe Sean paid for the hotel rooms. What are some of the names that were used on hotel reservations? Jackie Star was the name that I used. Frank Black, Frank White. There was all types of names. Frank Black and Frank White are names that Diddy used. He even used it to get his illegal medication. All right, turning to Jackie Star. Why did you use the name Jackie Star? That was a name that I don't know who came up with it, if it was him or me, that I used to actually book answers. I would use that name instead of my own name, and then just started using it as a hotel room name. And you also mentioned Frank White and Frank Black. Whose ancestors were Frank White or Frank Black? They were Sean's. What if any supplies were needed for freak-offs? These supplies were baby oil, Astroglide, and as lubricant, and condom. Who typically brought the supplies to the freak-offs? More often than not, it was staff. The room was usually stocked by the time we got there. If not, if it were a last-minute situation and I set it up, I would get things, and sometimes Sean would bring them. When you say staff, whose staff are you referring to? Sean's staff. Which positions on Sean's staff would be tasked with stocking the hotel rooms? Assistants, security. You mentioned baby oil. What brand of baby oil was used? Lord, I gotta know what brand was used. Child Johnson's baby oil. But y'all really need to know that. Did y'all really need to know that, though? Okay. Which position on Sean's staff would be tasked with stocking hotel rooms? Assistant, security. You mentioned baby oil. Johnson's. How was the baby oil used during the freak-off? It was as important as everything else as being there. We used it quite a bit. Where was it? Where was the baby oil placed? We poured it all over our bodies. Had to be glistening. Yeah. Which participants in the freak-off, if any, used the baby oil? Everyone. Would that include you? Yes. Does that include the male paid worker? Yes. Did that include Sean? Yes. What temperature was the baby oil when it was poured on your body? It was always heated. Like, keep the cap on, put it in the sink with hot water, and let it warm up. Child, listen, hold on a minute. Hold on a minute. Yeah. Oh, hold on 1 second. I'm just going to do. All right. If you stepped in the building, please hit the like button for engagement, just in case you have to run. Over here on YouTube, please hit the like button. It's a free way to support the show. Thank you so much. And if you are watching over on X, formerly known as Twitter. There's so many people over there. My mom that's here, she had to step away. So she has a, I'm gonna, we're gonna drop the link over there for the YouTube the YouTube video that we're streaming now. And if you would just come over and just hit the like button, you can go back over there and watch on X. I would greatly appreciate that. Give me 1 minute to get the link put into the chat. So, okay, let's get back into this. Who wanted the baby oil to be heated? Sean. You mentioned that the baby oil was used because you had to be glistening. Who told you that you needed to be glistening? Sean. It was his preference. How frequently would baby oil be applied to be glistening? Like every 5 minutes? It was a lot. What, if any, comments would Sean make about needing to apply baby oil? He would, if he felt like you were too dry, he would let you know. What would he say? He would say, you're too dry. You need to put more oil on, or you need to be glistening. You need to be, need to be shining. Yeah. Who directed the application of baby oil during the freak off? I would say that was heavily on Sean. Occasionally, I would say that we needed more too, because I just knew what to do. How did you know what to do? It was a very choreographed experience. Who choreographed the experience? Sean. During the freak offs, who applied baby oil to you? I applied it to myself. Sometimes Sean, sometimes the paid male worker. Would you apply baby oil to anyone? Sometimes with the paid male worker, sometimes to Sean. How did you usually apply baby oil? You just squirt it on out of the bottle. Were there other ways of applying oil at a freak off? There was one time where I got to, I think it was at El Hermitage in Beverly Hills, and there was a pool, like a blow-up pool, and it was filled with lube and oil, so that was a different way. When there was the blow-up pool that was filled with lube and oil, what did you do with the pool? I don't know what happened to the pool, honestly. I'm sorry, strike that. When there was that pool and oil, did you get into the pool? I did with my outfit, my shoes. It was quite dangerous. Who, if anyone, asked you to get into the pool? Sean. It was his idea. Did you want to get into a pool of baby oil? No, especially not in a hotel room like that. It was such a mess. It was like, what are we doing? Yeah. Why did you get into the pool with baby oil? At that point, I couldn't say no. It would have been all bad. Where I don't. When you say all bad, what do you mean? Objection, cause of speculation. Your Honor, the witness just used, I think just the verbiage is a little vague. I think you can ask a more focused question and you'll get a response. Sure. So you testified that if you did not get into the pool with baby oil, that it would be bad. Yeah. What concerns did you have about not getting into the pool with baby oil? That, amongst other things, just his temper. If that is something that Sean wanted to happen, that's what was going to happen. There wasn't another way around it. Approximately how many bottles of baby oil would be used in a typical freak off? A lot. I would say definitely somewhere close to 10. What size were those bottles? The largest size bottles were there freak offs where you ran out of baby oil? Okay, the largest size bottle. She says, so this is a question. Were the freak offs where you ran out of baby oil? Objection, Your Honor, at this point. It's getting a little cumulative. Let's see if we can wrap this up and move on. You also mentioned Astroglide. How was that used at the freak offs? Same objection, irrelevant. Your Honor, it's a supply. Sidebar. Okay. So because this is a official court document, we do have the sidebar notes of what was discussed at the sidebar. So these are the notes. They are at the sidebar right here. The court says, Ms. Johnson, maybe you can help us with where we're going right now. I think the objection is grounded in lack of relevance and also the cumulative nature of the questioning. Am I right about that? That's right. Maybe if you can give us some guidance as to where we're going next, that would be helpful. Yes, Your Honor. We're going to go through the various supplies that were used because those are supplies that were demanded by the defendant that were at every freak off. They were that were consistent, which showed a pattern, which showed how he controlled the events that happened at these freak offs. I will not ask any more oil questions. I have one question on lubricant. Are they really? Child. Are they really at the sidebar arguing about this baby oil and lubricant? Yes, they are. Okay. But I'm going to march through the different supplies that were present. That's fine. I understood the objection to mainly be on the cumulative nature on this. I think we had about 20 questions on baby oil issues, and I think we can condense that a little bit, and you'll avoid the objection. Is that fair? That's fair. Mr. Agnifilo, I was going to say slippery, and this is Diddy's attorney, right? So they're talking about baby oil at the sidebar, arguing about whatever, and it was the defense that, right? Here he is going to throw in a joke. Okay. So the court is asking, saying, Mr. Agnifilo, do you have anything, to say, to add to, what I just said? He says, I was going to say slippery slope, but I'm not going to say it. You already said it. You are a comedian now. And I heard he is the worst one on the defense team. That's what the people are saying. Not me. I'm not in the courtroom, but they said that he's the worst. So now they're back in open court. Court says, Ms. Johnson, you may proceed. Thank you, Your Honor. When we were just talking about Astroglide, how was the Astroglide used at Freegolf? As a lubricant? With respect to these two supplies, baby oil or Astroglide, were there times when you ran out of them? Yes. What would happen when you ran out? When we would run out, he would have to either call somebody, staff to bring it, or ask the bell desk and give them a tip. Not the staff at the the staff knew that whenever most of these hotels, whenever Diddy booked the room, they would put the room out of commission because they knew that it had to be deep cleaned, and then one room had to be renovated. That's crazy. Okay, so when you say staff, whose staff are you talking about? Oh, Sean's staff. So she's saying it's his staff. Okay, all right. Which members of Sean's staff will resupply the hotel? Assistants usually. Who would call those staff? Sean would advise me to, or he would call himself. And you also mentioned calling the bell desk. Who will call the bell desk? Again, either me or him. So yeah, they did call the the hotel people. Listen, child, you make this stuff up. Ooh, take the wheel. Again, either me or him. If you called that, whose direction would you be calling? Sean's. Initially, What's up? It's your girl Survivor Speaks. What happened? My internet just lost connection for a minute, and now it's back. So it says that we're successfully connected. Oh my goodness! I don't know what happened. Okay, so let's just get right into it. So, um, the question was where we left off. It says, and you also mentioned calling the bell desk. Who will call the bell desk? Again, either me or him. If you called, at whose direction and would you be calling? Sean's. Initially, what kind of lighting was used for freak offs? Initially, it was candlelit, so various candles. Who decided what kind of lighting would be used? Sean. What types of candles were used? At a time, really strong smelling candles like Glade or Deep Peak. I've never heard of those candles, but the smelling. Hold on, they done even done took the screens down where I had the. I don't know what is going on here. All right, so who we so some type of camel called diptyque. It's just probably above my pay grade. I don't know. I've never heard of anything. I never heard of a diptyque. Okay, I don't know where to get it from. I'm gonna have to look that up. I know I'll have to look up something in a minute, but I'm not gonna do it right now. But it's just really strong smelling. Who would typically bring the candles to the freak offs? It was all part of the setup. So whether it wasn't for me or him, approximately how many candles were used? Approximately 6 to 10. How were the candles placed in the room? They were placed so that Sean could see me and the male worker in the candle light. Now, who requested the candle setup? Sean. Besides lighting, were there any other other uses of candle wax at freak offs? A couple of times where it was poured on the body, but it wasn't common. When you say poured on the body, whose body was it poured on? My own or Sean's? And whose decision was it to pour wax on either your body or Sean's body? Sean's. Did the lighting that was used in freak offs change over time? Yes. There were lights after a certain point, like the lights that we would use in the studio. Y'all, this man is sick. That's all I can say. He's sick. Can you describe what the light you would use in the studio is? There are multicolored lights that change with the music, kind of like a club light. Hold on, y'all. Not the strobe light. Wasn't it a strobe light, Cassie? Come on, let us know. Wasn't it a strobe light? Listen. Lord, so there are can you describe what the light you would use in the studio is? Oh, okay, I said that. So what colors are those lights? Red, green, blue, and purple. Who made the decision to change the lighting? Sean would have assistance bring the light, so I guess him. Miss Gavin, can you pull up identification government exhibit 3Q118 for the parties in the court only? Miss Ventura, do you recognize who's in this photograph? Yes. And what type of location is this photograph taken? To me, it looks like a hotel. It looks like the London Hotel in New York. Who took this photograph? I believe I did. Is this a true and accurate photograph of Sean? Yes. The government office government exhibit 3Q118. No objection. It will be admitted. Ms. Gavin, can you please publish government exhibit 3Q118 to the jury? Ms. Ventura, directing your attention to Sean's hand. What is he holding? He's holding cash. How do you describe the color of the room? It's red from the studio light. Is the studio lighting you described earlier responsible for that red color? Yeah. You can take it down, Miss Gavin. What temperature were the rooms where the freak-offs were held? They were usually pretty warm. Who set the temperature? Sean. I got one question. The lighting was red. He wanted it hot as HE double hockey sticks. Did he want to feel like he was in HE double L hockey sticks? All this red lighting, all of this candles all around seems to be very ritualistic. What are we doing here? Yeah. What is going on? So you can take that down, Ms. Gavin. Oh, so we did that already. Sean set the temperature. And you described that the candles were strong. How did the room smell during the freak-offs? I mean, if it were a Glade candle and a bunch of them, Angel Whispers, if anybody knows what that smells like, just on 10, it was super pungent and strong mixed with oil and just all of the other scents. What other scents were there? Trigger warning. I mean, it was warm, so body odor, All right, so she didn't really say too much there, but we got some trigger warnings coming up now. So after a freak-off, you describe the condition of the room where the freak-offs was held. The room was usually pretty bad off. There was oil all over the walls, the door handles, the bed, the sheets. You often would get the room. I would need to call and ask for extra linens and towels and stuff like that to try to mitigate those problems. But oil, candle wax all over the place. You mentioned you would call for extra linens. When would you do that? Prior to starting? Why would you call for extra linens? To cover up the furniture that was there to try to protect it. You described wax and oil damage. What else, if anything, was soiling the linens? Sometimes blood, urine. So starting with blood, how would blood get on the linens at freak-offs? I was expected to have freak-offs on my menstrual. Who expected you to do freak-offs on your menstrual? Sean, did you want to do freak-offs on your menstrual? No, I don't think anybody really wants to do that. And you also mentioned urine. Yes. Trigger warning. I know this was a trigger warning. Okay. Listen, how would urine get on the linens at freak-off? Sometimes Sean would have, he would have the escort urinate on me. Sometimes there was so much going on. I don't know how they got soiled the way they did, to be completely honest. So focus it on the urine. Because you want an escort or a male worker, paid male worker, or Sean to urinate on you. No. Asked and answered. Your Honor, I did not ask that question before. She didn't. Hold on. What is the objection? Asked and answered. It's overruled. She did not ask that question. Stop. Ms. Ventura, did you want Sean or a paid male worker to urinate on you? No. And before that happened, what, if anything, did you discuss about being urinated on? There was no conversation. It was just a turn on for him. So it happened. Who directed a male paid worker to urinate on you? Sean, can you please describe how it felt when this happened? I mean, just as humiliating if anybody were there to see it. I was disgusted. It was too much. It was overwhelming. I choked. There couldn't have been anything on my face that was reading that I wanted to be doing that. I was kind of just laid on the floor in a position that I couldn't easily get out of. So Were you able to tell the paid mail workers to stop? I just kind of put my hands up, and eventually Sean saw and he told them to stop. Why did you put your hands up? Nothing I could really do laying on the floor. You mentioned choking. Why were you choking? Trigger warning. Trigger warning. Too much urine in my mouth. And besides the escort urinating on you, who else, if anyone, did that? Sean? Did you want Sean to urinate on you? I don't want anybody to urinate on me. No. And when in relation to the escort urinating on you, did Sean urinate on you at the same time? I'm not. But you know what? What's going on, my good star, Demetri Gibson? When I get off here, hopefully you'll be up tonight and you'll get to have I'll get to talk to you. I'm glad to see you here. Makes me very, very happy. No, Allie, you're good, Allie. I already know what's going on with you. It's no problem at all. We had lost, I don't know, the internet went out anyway. So, Denitra, I hope that I get to speak to you once I'm done here. If you're not asleep, my sister girl. My sister in survivorhood, and yeah, I'm so glad to see that you did check, you tapped in. Glad to see that. All right, y'all. I don't even know. Listen, y'all. Like, how would he like it if somebody was urinating in his daughter's mouth? Huh? Somebody answer me that. So now all right, let's just move on because I just can't. I just, this is just. All right, let's go. Him and the paid mail worker was urinating on her at the same daggone time. What? Child, approximately how many times did this happen throughout the relation? She said throughout the relationship, and as a question, yes, not super often, but often enough. Before leaving a hotel, what, if anything, did you do to clean up the linens you described? I mean, there wasn't really too much you could do, but give a good tip and hope that they would help out. I would just try to clean up and what I could. Usually, like an assistant or staff or somebody would come, I believe, after. Are you aware if hotels charge for damage to the rooms? I am. How do you know that? Through conversations with the staff that got the call from the hotel. I remember specifically hearing like a number that was crazy. It was having to redecorate the room. It was a really high number to fix it. Are y'all kidding me? Denisha Allen may have stepped away because she has an ongoing emergency as well. So she's maybe in and out. So she said she was okay. She did. Hey. All right. She said it before that. Okay. I didn't see that. I just wanted to make sure because yeah, she's in and out too. Child, are you aware if hotels charge for damage to the rooms? I am. How do you know that? Through conversations with the staff that got the call from the hotel. Also, yeah, they had to redecorate this whole room. Are you aware which hotel charged that really high number? That was the Intercontinental in New York. Yeah, Denitra, it is a lot. This is not for children. These are the official transcripts. This is day 2. Cassie Ventura is testifying on direct, and we are, we're able to hear like the chatter and the noise. A lot of people are reporting on this. A lot of content creators, a lot of news stations. I'm going to say that. Well, it depends on which news station. You have people that used to work in news. They have their own shows now. They seem to be reporting like correctly, but there's a lot of news stations that are just not reporting, the truth about what's going on in this case. So we digging into the transcripts over here because we want to hear and see. We want to hear, what happened in the courtroom verbatim. So that we're reading the transcripts. Yes. Because the content creators, they cover it. But they want to get to right to the meat, and it's a lot. Oh my goodness. So one more question for you about the urination. Why didn't you say no when this happened? Objection. Mischaracterizes. What? What is he talking about? Objection. What? She said that he urinated on her. One more question for you about the urination. Why didn't you say no when it happened? Objection. I'm sorry. I had to read that again. Are they stupid? Yeah, this is sick to me. Listen. She said, Ms. Johnson, there's probably a couple more questions to ask. The court says, Ms. Johnson, there's probably a couple more questions to ask. Ms. Ventura, I believe you testified earlier about the urination, that it just happened and there wasn't any discussion. Is that an accurate summary of your testimony? Yes. When it happened without any discussion, what did you do? I mean, I was squeamish immediately and high and in the moment with this man. So that's what happened. Ciao. Cassie sounds like she's stuck back in time. Like understand, even though she's like, I don't know how to explain it, but I do know that, talking to like some other people, they were like she sounds like she's, even though she's moved on, but like he groomed her. He definitely 100% groomed her. In the beginning of this testimony, I read that he definitely groomed her. She did not like him. Remember the first kiss? She ran out because she was just like, how do I take this? And then he like I said, he just mind screwed her. He messed her up logically. Then you ask this girl, you trying to figure out, he want to call you a nickname. You couldn't figure out what did your grandfather call you? You wanted her to call you a nickname. Y'all couldn't figure out one. So you asked her, what did she call her grandfather? She said, Papa. And so then he said, well, yeah, call me Papa. Now, I can't make this up. We read it yesterday. That is some sick, this twisted BS. So, okay, so like all these people running around here talking about, oh, she wanted it, she did. No, she was groomed. A grown woman can be groomed. I hope y'all know that, right? That's what happens with abuse. By either man or woman, because we know it goes both ways. I don't want people to think I'm just biased over here saying that women are abused. No. We know that men get abused as well. As a matter of fact, where I live today, they called the cops. There was the dispute in a town over from where I live. Yeah. And they had a domestic violence called. And unfortunately, the guy just was going bonkers, and the cops pow-powed him, and it was reported that he did pass away. Listen, Young Miami, this just brings into perspective when Young Miami interviewed Trina. So that Trina's supposed to be her godmother for real, right? And Trina has always been known to the public as Trina the biggest freak. So that's how she put herself out there. But even when she interviewed Trina, she was like, what is some of your fetishes that you like? What is some of your fetishes that you like, whatever the freakiest thing you ever did and that you like? And then she said to Trina, I don't know, I like for men to pee on me. And Trina was like, what? Why would you even say that? Why would you even say that? What? Trina was confused then. She was in confusion. Why would you sit on here, even if that's what you like? Why would you sit on here and it just behooves me how you can sit here and now it all makes sense. I'm not sure if this is your first time and you like it because you was dating. Sean Combs, aka Diddy, aka Puff Daddy, aka Daddy, Brother Love, Pop, aka Diddy on top, Tunchi on the bottom. I don't know, Young Miami. But what the whole entire. So when Cassie said this, what? And not only did you had the male worker do y'all at the same time. This is degrading. And I keep saying Cassie was never his girlfriend. She was never his girlfriend. I don't care how many times he paraded her in front of the world. They were never exclusive in an exclusive relationship. And he told her, you got to be exclusive to me. But I just like women. I thought it was very odd. I watched the video yesterday, right? First of all, they were on vacation. You had no idea Cassie was there. Then they make a transition to, it was his daughter's birthday. His daughter, Chance's birthday. They had been partying for like all of this time. And then they transitioned to I'm going to call it a scene because everything was choreographed for this guy. He choreographed everything in his mind before he put it out there. So he had Cassie sitting over here. Chase's mother sitting over there. Talking about this is what good co-parenting looks like. Co-parenting. Yeah, y'all need to get on the positive energy over here. Nothing but positive energy over here. This is co-parenting. Sarah, you got anything to say? I said, God dag on it. It was, the clue was right in front of our eyes. We just didn't know that some of the stuff. Yeah. Let's move on. So she said when it happened. Okay, yeah, we went through that already. All right. So when you say you were high and in the moment, what do you mean by that? There's not a whole lot of control you have at that point of taking that many rugs and being laid on the floor with two men standing over you, urinating on you. Could you have gotten up and screamed? Could I have? It should be I. Could I have gotten up and screamed? I guess. Why didn't you say no when that happened? I thought that it was obvious that I didn't want to do it, I guess. Do you remember the person that I referred to as the first male paid worker? Yeah. Were there other male paid workers that you used besides the first male paid worker? Yes. And after the first male paid worker, who typically found male paid workers for recalls? I was put on that task to find the male paid workers. And who, if anyone, put you on that task? Sean did. She can just sit up there on the stand and said, Sean. Everything was at the Sean. She's groomed. Do y'all understand? He called her in the room, and we didn't get to that testimony yet because that is when Captain Clark was on the stand. Do y'all understand? He called her. First of all, you sitting there with Captain Clark, London Lauren. I keep forgetting who the third person was. It was three of them. And he says, watch this. Cassie, get your in here. Sit down. Stand up. Turn around. Go over there and get that. Bring it back over here. Get your out of here. She followed every command. He said, you see that? That's why y'all MFs don't have no man like me. And Captain Clark said they always like, you MF and right. Because what? Boy, bye. Child. Now, this child, wait till y'all hear where they got these male paid workers from. My head was hurting when because I told you there's another YouTuber reads transcripts like a cast. So he has like, men come up and play the men, women come up and read the women and stuff like that. So it was yesterday for always is not here yet, but she will be here, I'm sure. She explained it perfectly. She was the same thing that you were saying. He asked was talking about his blow up. The blow up plastic dolls that they have. That's what she was. And that's exactly, you know what? I said that is a perfect. That is perfect. That's exactly what she was. Like she didn't have feelings, like she didn't hurt. I bought her out of the but this year, as soon as I said they go for always. What's up for always? Thank you for coming. So Denise had just down in the chat that Cassie was Diddy's play to her, and I said, I know Forever's not here, but I know she's gonna be here at some point because she summed it up yesterday perfectly. Cassie was his blow up plastic doll with no feelings, no emotions. I can't feel. First of all, it's disgusting as I don't know what. You urinated in this girl's mouth? Well, Young Miami, that's the question I got for you. Young Miami, come to the front. Come on to the front, Young Miami. Arisha, please. Come to the front. But when you said that you like you people to urinate on you, do you like it in your mouth too? That is disgusting. I can't, you know what? And now I'm reading these transcripts. I will never, ever, ever look at Young Miami the same. And I really liked Young Miami. I think she had a great show over there on Revolt. And then, yesterday I said, is Diddy really all the way removed from Revolt or not? Because she definitely restarted her show this year. I didn't when I got off here last night, I said, Denitra, I am on Instagram, and I went to bed after I didn't get here done after that for a couple minutes, so I didn't get to look at because I'm going back. I want to go back to the credits. I remember her first show that she did was an interview with her and Saucy Santana. Was the first time that she ever spoke about Diddy, and Saucy Santana interviewed her. I'm going to the credits because I need to see what the credits are. Even if it don't say Sean Combs, I'm looking for some other names in credits. That's what I'm looking for. When I find, if I go there and I see something that stands out to me, I'll bring it out and I'll let y'all know. But yeah, Young Miami. Now when you said that to Trina that you like to be urinated on, I was like, she's nasty. But now that Cassie is saying that urinated in her mouth, Young Miami. And then did y'all make the song act bad after that? I digress. Now, let's move on. This video is not for kids. All right. Y'all, listen to this and pay attention. What, if any, requirements, physical or otherwise, does Sean have for the male paid workers? At first, it was very specific, like he wanted a black male with a large whacker. But eventually, it just kind of became whatever's available. Where did you find these male workers to hire? When it became really consistent, we found a male working service called Cowboys for Angels. And they have male paid workers in like all the major cities in the United States. Before using cowboys for angels, how did you find escorts? Initially, Craigslist. Not billionaire dollar, y'all. Initially, Craigslist or Backpage or whatever. He just out here just ordering up anything, y'all. Anything. Are you crazy? Girl, listen. Okay, so let's go. What is Craigslist? Craigslist is a website where you can put up ads and sell your bed and other things. It's just where you can place ads. So besides placing ads, you also respond to ads. You can also respond to ads. Did you post any ads on Craigslist? No. So that means that they just went looking. Y'all remember that doctor that was ordering female paid streetwalkers off of Craigslist, and he was just the perfect guy, engaged to be married and all that, and he was unaliving the women. Child. And another thing that really bothers me, you are so smart that you are stupid. You invited these people to her home because she didn't live with him. So he invited these people to his home, her home, whatever. Because this fool was in disguise. They haven't got to the part where, I forget which. Maybe it's Cassie that will tell you that one day he disguised himself. He was wearing and I'm sure that the Islam community would be very upset to hear that he was wearing a burqa on his head. So that's what the Muslim women wear on their head, and nothing else. He was just nude everywhere. Just that on that. No clothes. We see how he liked running hallways with towels wrapped around him. That wasn't the first time that he ran down the hallway with a towel. According to testimony that has been given in this case so far, that's not the only hallway that he's ran down with the one that we saw. That's not the only one. It appears that he likes to run out in the hallway in hotels and just towel in his goddamn socks. Diddy, they need to sit the gym on top. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm not starstruck. I'm not. Right is right and wrong is wrong. And everybody will hear when we get to it how bad he abused this girl. Everybody will hear how bad. And that's the testimony that they want thrown out. They want her full testimony thrown out. And everybody else that proved that this is a RICO case, he wants their testimony thrown out. The judge said, you don't run this. I do. It's not Fulton County. We understand you done went down there and grabbed some of the attorneys from down there. Some of the shout out to Brian Steele. He's still one of my favorites. Shout out to Miss Nicole Westmoreland. Beast, both of them. Baby, don't bring that Fulton County mess up here in these New York courts. Not in this federal court system, you won't. I'm not doing that. And I just love the fact that this judge is unbiased and that he is a newer federal judge. So he don't care about none of this stuff. So anyway, I digress. Let's go back. Besides, okay, so did you post it? She said no. Did you respond to ads? I did. And whose direction did you respond to ads? At Sean's direction. Please tell me what to look for. Your Honor, I'm not sure when the court was planning on taking a break this afternoon. I was planning on doing it at 3. The court said I was planning on doing it at 3, but if this is a good place, we can take it now. I think it would be a good place. Thank you, members of the jury. As always, we have talked to each other about the case, and we'll have some further instructions at the end of the day. We'll be back at 3 p.m. All rise. The court. Anything to raise before we take our break? Ms. Johnson? Nothing, Your Honor. Thank you. The court. Anything from the defense? No, Your Honor. We'll be back at 3 p.m. Ms. Johnson, do we have our witness? Are we just waiting for her? It's fine if she just needs a minute or two. Cassie walks in. He says, welcome back. Let me see. So, you said for all of you said you didn't know Backpage was for that. Listen, I don't even know. I've never been on. I've never been on Backpage. I don't know either. Yeah, we're in the hijab. Yeah, they call it the burqa, the hijab. They have something like it is a very, very disrespectful to, use that, wear that during a freak off. And then you have like the Nation of Islam. One of the biggest people that was in the Nation of Islam was his security guard. One of his security guards. Yeah. So, yeah, judges in the federal court, they're not playing with you. Like they have a 98% success rate because they're not going to bring nothing to this court unless they can prove it. That's how the feds work. He wasn't just he was under investigation already. But whatever's going on with him legally, this $10 million legal team, they all he tried to say he wanted a mistrial because his legal team is very incompetent. Yeah, he is not trying everything. Wiggle up out of here. And so, a lot of people are asking questions. Do you think that Trump is going to pardon him? And I do. From what I understand, they're looking into possibly bringing state charges against him in Los Angeles. So if they do, and there's a case there, the presidents can only pardon like a federal inmate during federal time. State, nothing they can do. Well, I think this man will pardon him. I don't think so. Because he don't like some of the attorneys that he hired. But you never know. I've never heard him say anything about that. And let's take Ghislaine Maxwell. What is it? Ghislaine Giselle. I'll be jacking her name up, but y'all know who I'm talking about. Let's take her for instance. Somebody asked him a question about that. I'll never forget. He was like, "Oh well, I wish her well. She was a nice lady." Well, damn, well, she was a nice lady. I wish her well. Like, go do your time. Yeah, bye. Listen, you should have gave me up when they was asked. Not that it would mean anything, because listen. I don't do political talk over here. That's what I'm talking about is not political talk, but what I was getting ready to just say was. So I don't do the political thing back and forth. But yeah, he just said, yeah, she's a nice lady. So I wish her well. She's a nice lady. Yeah. I don't think it's going to be a good move for him to pardon this guy. I just know if he's still innocent until proven guilty in court of law, right? He's having the jury played out in front of a jury of his peers. Oh, man, I don't think it's going to get this up for y'all. I cannot watermark the rest of this document. Oh no, I'm not gonna do it. I'm just gonna read it. Well, I didn't know we were gonna get down here this fast. But okay. So the court, Miss Johnson, you may proceed. Thank you, Your Honor. Miss Ventura, before the break, you were talking about Craigslist. Do you remember that testimony? Yes. In what cities did you respond to ads on Craigslist? In New York, I think that was the main. At whose direction did you respond to ads on Craigslist? At Sean's direction. When you responded to ads on Craigslist, whose contact information did you use? I used my own. Did you use your own name? No. What name would you use? Jackie Star. Is it like Jackie Corn? Allie, I know you'd be like, leave the corn alone. Listen. That's what we gotta see. I'm sorry. You know, if I tell them to throw all my eggs away because I use that, in place of the word fix, you throw away your corn. All right, so them judges in the that man needs to go home and go to bed. All right, so it says when you responded to ads on Craigslist, whose contact information did you use? She said she uses her own Jackie Star. Okay, so would you use your own phone number? I would have to use my own phone number. Yep. You also mentioned Backpage. What is Backpage? Backpage is a similar thing to Craigslist ads. Did you respond to ads from Backpage as well? I did. And at whose direction? Sean. I'm telling y'all, she could just sit up there and say Sean, all through this daggone testimony because that's what he had did. All right. Also, before we broke, you testified about a company called Cowboys for Angels. So you remember that testimony? Yeah. Who typically communicated with Cowboys for Angels? I did. I communicated with a gentleman named Garen. They're throwing out names. Oh, Garen. Well, Garen ain't no. Yeah, I remember the escort that testifies. Escort. The day I'm wondering, was that he didn't say who his boss was, they just kept saying the boss. But was he wasn't from Cowboys for Angels. I don't think, no. Usually through text, occasionally a call. When you would reach out to Gavin, how much notice would you give him that you needed a paid mail worker? It usually wasn't that much notice. It would be like somebody today. Like, this is an emergency 911. We need. I'm not laughing at Cassie. I feel so bad for her. You can say what they want to say. Shout out to her. Giving birth to a beautiful baby boy, healthy child, because after all she went through, that's nobody but the Lord. Man, wait till y'all hear how this man kicked her, stumped her. Y'all want to know what's so crazy? I watched a video where he was on vacation and he was like, excuse me, y'all. This stuff didn't give me a warning. I guess I wasn't looking. He was like, this is my ugly foot right here. And this is my good foot. This is my pretty foot right here. Yeah. So, I just got to make sure that I keep them greased on my ugly foot first, and this is my good foot. I said, is that the foot that you just, is that the foot that you kick the women with? Is that the foot that you use to kick the women with? Is that the ugly foot? Yeah, I think so. Believe that is the foot that you use when you are, putting your hands on women and kicking them down the street like they footballs and all that. So that must be your ugly foot. Got it. At least you know that is your ugly foot as well. At least you know. Oh, okay, this thing decided to. Oh, I don't know what's going on with this one. I might have to have it. So yeah, I saw that video yesterday. I was just like so disturbed. Like I said, is he really sitting here talking about that's his ugly foot? This is his pretty foot. No, when I tell you narcissism, it's crazy. It is crazy. To think that this man thought that he was a real king. Hold on a minute. Hold on just a second. My chair said this. All right, so my chair just said it's tired. You upgrade that, and then I'll be done with. So yeah, so that means. So yeah, so let's get right back into this. So what else would you tell Garen during those communications? I tell him what city we're in because he would basically send paid mail workers based off of the city we were in, time, location, all of that. So, Ms. Gavin, can you pull up for identification for the court and parties? Only government exhibit B236. You can put page 1 and 2 on the same screen. That would be helpful. I'm sorry, Ms. Gavin. I meant B326. I'm sorry that I misspoke. Ms. Ventura, do you recognize the communication in government exhibit B326? Yes. What is it? It's a text thread with me and Garen. How do you recognize it? I have his name in there as Garen CB4A, which is Cowboys for Angels. Is this text thread from one of the devices you gave to the government? Yes. Is this a true and accurate thread between you and Garen? Yes. The government offers government exhibit B326. No objection. It will be admitted. Ms. Gavin, could you please publish to the jury? Ms. Gavin, could you please blow up the chat participants from the top of the first page? Ms. Ventura, you mentioned this already, but since the jury can now see it, the context is Garen CB4A. What does CB4A stand for? The company Cowboys for Angels. You can go back to the message, Ms. Gavin. Thank you. Who are the participants in this chat? Darren and I. Directing your attention to the first gray bubble on the first page. What is the date of the first message? June 29th of 2012. What does Garen say to you in that message? Okay, this is the guy. He's new and really an amazing guy. I had him come to Miami for his final interview to meet with me, and he is ready to go. And then what are the next 2 messages that she received? Photos. And then at the bottom, what does Garen tell you at the bottom of page 2? His name is Trent. Have him for 7 o'clock. When you receive communications, and she said to him, have him for 7 o'clock. So when you receive communications like this with photographs, what did you do with the photographs? I would usually show them to Sean and see if that person was of interest for a freak off. If that person was not of interest, what happened? I would just tell Garen no. See if he had anybody else. Did Sean have to approve the escorts? I definitely had to show him. Yeah. Miss Gavin, can you turn to pages 3 and 4 of this exhibit, please? Miss Ventura, directing your attention to the left page, starting at the top. I'll read the gray bubbles and you read the blue. Oh, this is great. All right. You go ahead and read the blue. All right. So the first gray bubble has a photograph with a message of William, who you saw before, but we need to confirm William home so he can rearrange his plan. Okay, for Trent, let's do 8. Okay, sounds good. Send over that Addy when you can. 10 West End. Not close to home yet. Stuck in traffic. Can we push to 9 p.m.? Pausing you there. 10 West End in the previous message. Who lived at 10 West End? That was my apartment in New York on 60th and West End. Is this sort of short excerpt we read from the communication from you and Garen consistent with how you typically communicated with Garen about hiring an escort, a paid? Yeah, I gotta keep remembering because I can't believe in the description. I think I do have it in there too, and I have to take it out because when I go to my channel and go to the description, it's kind of like, okay, so yeah, I did take it out. Okay, I'm just looking at it, kind of like grayed out. YouTube will be like, no, we don't want you. You can't. That's gonna get this flag. Yeah, it's just disgusting, y'all. It's just no other way to put it. No other way to say it. Um, he's just disgusting, and that's on that. And I dare anybody to. So many people are outside the court with their opinions and stuff like that. And like I said, there's a lot of people that are outside of the court and have never stepped foot in the court. It's kind of like the same players. Um, so yeah, I don't understand, why they are trying to act like all this stuff wasn't talked about before. It's their first time hearing this. Like they're like, I don't understand, but everybody's opinion is their opinion, and everybody can have their own opinion. Um, all right, so let's get right back into this. So, um, yeah, we said that already. So, disrespectful is an understatement. How do you learn the words? So, like, you know what? I kind of learned the word from watching YouTube before I became a content creator, or like if I am writing a description, YouTube flags like certain words in your description. They'll tell you that and they give you the meaning of it and tell you how it is perceived by somebody looking at it. I'm like, really? Okay. So yeah, that's how I knew. I believe that they probably do have I think they do have a list of words. It could be just that I never looked at the list. I just know that certain words they will just, you can use them if you want to be demonetized. If you don't want your video to be monetized, you can use them. And sometimes they won't monetize the video anyway, even if you do. Reading transcript, it could be one way or another. That's why a lot of content creators, ask for donations, because sometimes you put on or you make a video, you can check the video after you make it. So even if you have saying it's monetized, you can log off and log back in, and you got a message and it's flagged red like, this video cannot be monetized. That's how it works. I mean, sometimes they'll let you edit and take out what, but if it's in the video, like you're saying it in the video, and they pick up on it, you can mute that part of the video, but then somebody else watching it be like, what the heck? Why is she muted for all that? In this case, it would be, why is she muted for all that? What's going on? Oh yeah, just to avoid all that, yeah, we say those words. Anyway, so let's go on here. Is this sort of short excerpt we read from the communication from you and Garen consistent with how you typically communicated with Garen about hiring a male paid worker? I didn't know that this word was you couldn't say this word. So the other day I looked, I'm like, wait a minute. So it's flagged like red, and it'll tell you how many words are flagged in your description. So that's when I said, you can't say this either? That's crazy. So yeah, so she said yes, it was transactional. You also testified earlier about dancers or strippers were sometimes hired. Do you remember that testimony? Yes. Who reached out to hire a dancer or a stripper? I would be tasked to do that based off of seeing a website or something. Who tasked with hiring a dancer or stripper? Sean. Ellie, can you put the link for the chat over in Twitter, please, so that they can if they would be so kindly to come over here and hit the like button and for engagement. If you're not subscribe to the channel, so that you can would be able to no, Allie, I can see your comment. Your comments are showing. I don't see anywhere where there's no comment next to your name. So yeah, we can see your comment. It might be on your end, but it's fine. All right. So moving on. All right. So what cities did you hire dancers or strippers? New York, Miami, Los Angeles. Do you recall any of the names of the dancing or stripping services that you used? I remember one was called like Latin Men. I don't remember the exact names. Aside from Craigslist, Backpage, stripping and dancing services in Garen, were there times you spoke directly with paid male workers? Yes. Who had typically communicated with male paid workers? I did. Who directed you to communicate with the male paid workers? Objection. These types of questions are leading. I know there have been a number of them. Your Honor, I'll rephrase. Okay. Who, if anyone, directed you to communicate with the male paid workers? I did that was the same question. She said, objection. Same objection. It doesn't solve the problem. It's who, if anyone. Oh, okay. So she put if anyone. Who, if anyone. So yeah, she's not saying like who, if anyone did. All right, so there is a difference. And it assumes the fact, not evidence that there was direction. That's a lie. Yes, there were. Yes, there were. Diddy scene is, when I tell you, they are trying everything under the sun. That definitely was testified to. Sure was. So I think that's the objection. So it assumes the fact, not in evidence, that there was direction. I think that's the objection here, Ms. Johnson. I think you need to ask a few questions before you get to that one. What, if any, conversations would you have prior to communicating with a male paid worker directly? Can you repeat the question? Sure. I'm sorry. You testified you would typically communicate directly with a male paid worker. Do you remember that? Yes. Prior to communicating directly with a male paid worker, what, if any, conversations would you have with Sean? Basically, I'm gonna just ask, just bust it on out, just like this what y'all want. I'm gonna give y'all what y'all want. All right. It would usually just be like, are we going to have a freak off this afternoon? Like, very simple. Even though I had contacts, he had contacts as well. Sean. When you say contacts, what do you mean by that? He had Garen's contact. He had some of the mail paid workers' personal contact information as well. So he reached out as well. How do you know that? How do you know that? Because he would tell me. Did you ever reach out to mail paid workers independently? No. How would you typically communicate with mail paid workers? Through text? When would you, for example, go through someone like Garen versus communicating directly with a mail paid worker? Occasionally, Garen would actually just offer, like, maybe you should grab his number so you can call him directly. There was that much communication going on. And when would that communication happen? Just before? Are you talking? I'm sorry, I don't think I understood. You testified that Sean would tell you to grab a mail worker's contact information. Is that right? Yeah. When would Sean tell you that? Before they would leave after a session, usually? Um, um, so how would you save a mail paid worker's contact information in your phone? I used to just use the abbreviated word strip after their name, like Garen's was CB4A. If they came from that company, that's how I would put them in my phone. Were there ever abbreviations you used besides CB4A? Strip is the only one I could think of. You testified earlier that Sean also had Darren and other mail paid workers contacts. Is that right? Yes. Why did you contact mail paid workers in Darren? Sean was a very busy person, but he would just ask me straight up if he was busy doing something, if I could do it. Whose idea was it for you to contact mail paid workers? Yours or someone else's? It was someone else's. When you were reaching out to a mail paid worker, what, if anything, would you say to the mail paid worker about what you were hiring that mail paid worker to do? It depended on like the situation, how they came in. But I would usually say that my husband is into something called voyeurism, and he likes to watch me with another man. It was like a basic conversation that I had with most of the mail paid workers. From there, I would get a feel if they were willing to do it or not. When did that conversation typically occur in the process? Before, when they would first get there, first arrive at a location, first arrive at the hotel, or wherever we were. And circling back to one of your answers where you said that it was someone else's idea to contact paid mail workers. Who was that someone else? Sean. So when you speak to the mail paid worker, when they arrive at the hotel and have the conversation you just described, who was typically present for that conversation? It would usually be just me and the mail paid worker. If Sean wanted to over here, he could listen from the room over. Yeah, I don't have it over there. For always. Just the actual distance. It wasn't super far. Did you ever speak to Sean about him listening to the conversation? Yeah. He would tell me if he heard everything or not. What conversations, if any, did you have with Sean about what to say to the mail paid workers at this initial meeting? I'm sorry, could you rephrase that? Sure. You described sort of an initial meeting with the mail paid worker. Do you remember that? Uh-huh. What, if anything, did you discuss with Sean about what you would say at that initial meeting? Sean gave me direction. It was usually, this is my husband's fantasy. We created this scenario that we were married. This is fantasy. This is what I like to do for him to please him. So these were things that he would tell me to be able to say to the mail paid workers or make them more comfortable in it. I guess I don't. Are those things that you would then say to the mail paid worker? Yep. After you had this initial conversation with the healthcare worker, what would you do next? After that conversation, I would usually go back into the room with Sean and just finish getting ready to go out and start the session. Yeah, it's really sad. Would you tell Sean that what the conversation with the male paid worker was about? Yes. If it was somebody that we hadn't used before or somebody that still didn't know us, like who we were, he would have questions about it and, just inquire if it was a safe person. I felt comfortable with them if they were willing to do all the things that we had discussed. Were there occasions where you did not use a male paid worker who came to meet you and with whom you had this initial conversation? Yes, with one particular in mind. The person tried, but eventually just said they could not do and a direction. He couldn't he couldn't do the hard boiled eggs. He couldn't do that. It wouldn't stay there. So they were sent on. Yeah, Allie, that is such a great point. We're just hearing about what happened and it's disturbing. So yeah, I can't imagine being in her position, stuck in her position and being the one that had to suffer through this. I can't imagine. I can't. So who sent them on? Sean. And you mentioned something in your description of your conversation with Sean. If the male paid worker was safe, what did you mean by safe? Safe that there was sometimes a conversation. This wasn't all the time where Sean wanted me to clarify if the person was a cop. At first, I didn't understand, and I learned later why. Also, that the person wasn't going to, just run and tell everybody about their experience with us. So that's supposed to be safe. But when the first paid male worker, when he testified, we asked him for the STD results. And remember, he brought his, but they never gave him cash. So how safe you trying to be for real? How safe are you trying to be for real? What did you learn about what you just said? I'm sorry. You just said that sometimes Sean asked you to ask if the person was a cop, right? Yeah. And you said later, I learned about why. Yeah. What did you learn? I learned that this whole situation was not legal. Objection. Sustained. Jury should disregard the witness's last answer. You can't unring the bell. Yeah, you cannot unring that bell. I don't care who you are. You cannot unring the bell. She said what she said and we heard it. I've been reading a long time. Excuse y'all. Excuse me. Yeah. Now listen. Child. How were paid male workers typically paid with cash money? At what point during the session were they typically paid? At the end? Approximately how much were escorts typically, I don't say it, so typically paid? Anywhere from $1,500 to I would say $5,000 or $6,000. What role, if any, did you have in determining how much male paid workers were paid? I didn't have a role. It wasn't my money. There we have it. She was barely making any money. Objection. Because they was quick with objection. She didn't have any money. And when people did reach out to ask her, would you like to host this gig and get paid or a modeling job, she said most of the time he said no. That's a matter of control. I don't need you to have no money, access to no money where you can do stuff on your own. You need to come to Pop Pop. Because that's what he wanted her to call him, because that's what she called her grandfather. Sick. You need to come to Pop Pop when you need something. Anything you need. Just text Pop Pop or call Pop Pop on the line, or just get in contact with one of Pop Pop's assistants or security. Yeah. When I tell y'all, this is too much, this is too much. There was a young lady out there outside the courtroom. I mean, her and this guy was about to go to blows, I thought. Because she was out there. And it was so bad on this day that they let Diddy's mother out first. So she had, like, security all around her. Plus, the feds have their own security people. They know who they are. They know that they're the family. So they kind of like, they don't know what's going to happen. There's so many people outside, so they escort them in. And then normally when they bring her out, normally one of the sons is either holding her hand and the security is on the other side and somebody may be behind her. On this day, she was by herself. She had this two security on the side of her. And it was just, they was out there going crazy. This girl and this guy. And so they had, like, already had closed the door on the Sprinter. And, like, the boys was just sitting on the Sprinter, I guess, waiting for, them to calm down. But this girl was down there talking about, "Free Diddy!" And the guy started saying, "No, it ain't free him. He where he's supposed to be. He's a monster." And he's apparently, this guy knows somebody. He better hope. Well, they said the feds does not put anybody on the stand that has been on a tour through the social media streets. No. But they were out there arguing, and this guy apparently, he got information. He was saying all type. Like, when I tell you all types of stuff, I was like, wow. Now the fact might call him in there, like, listen, you know a lot. You get this information. And he was the same person that was saying, which I don't agree with. I don't care what people said. There was no proof. I was not raised to disrespect my elder. He was the same guy that was out there saying, you raised a monster. You ain't have no modeling agency. You were a madam. And it's just like, oh my goodness. That is still somebody's mother, grandfather, and she's 80 years old. I just think that, it's just like a bit too much. But, right. I agree with you wholeheartedly for always. He definitely needs, this is his karma. And now he's a little perturbed because things are not going his way. The way he saw them in his mind. Because he has a God complex. And so in his mind, things was going to go like this. Now, it's not me. But they got people out there that went off because they're not pro Diddy. And so, yeah, they got on camera like, yeah, they're offering $20 an hour for people to stand out here and wear the free Diddy t-shirt. Well, people that wasn't with it was like, that's not what we're here for. We're not here to see him. We're not here in support of him. No, we're not doing it. And of course, where all of the cameras are and stuff like that, and they said, yeah, they had the nerve to ask me to wear a free Puffy t-shirt with a free Diddy t-shirt for $20 an hour. Child. It's not me. It's people outside the courtroom. That didn't come from. That's crazy. Because nobody's really showing up for her. But this girl, oh my gosh, her and this guy, it had got really ugly. I was just like, wow. Y'all really out here arguing over this man? He was telling her, look at you out here arguing for somebody that's a billionaire and your wig is raggedy. Look at you. You look like 6 months pregnant. I said, oh, sir, you are really going in. He was going in on her. And she was giving it back to him though too. It's like, wow, you really out here. Yeah. Tink Tink. Poor Tink Tink. You out here just swinging in the air. He wouldn't even spit on you if he was on fire. Wouldn't even look your way. Even look your way. He has a type. He does. He has a type. Just look at all the women that was on his arms. Beautiful model, women that can be models and stuff like that. That he has a type. And so before hiring anybody, if you notice on his act, yeah, they were pretty. The women were, nice looking, pretty women. Want to know why? One guy on the stand today. She was essayed multiple times by him. She just didn't want anybody to know. She was embarrassed. She does not suit him. None of that. So she has nothing to gain from this. And so she's testifying under the pseudonym Mia. She testified under the pseudonym Mia. So yesterday, when we said victim 2 was supposed to be coming, they didn't get to it because the defense said that they would be done with his ex-stylist by 4 o'clock yesterday. So the judge left the court out at 3. So he asked the jurors, so this would be helpful to you as well. They said that they'll be done by 4. Is that okay? They said, yeah. He was playing games because they couldn't shake the ex-stylist. His name is Deontay. No, 4 o'clock came, it was still going. The judge let them know. He went off, but they resumed that testimony. That testimony this morning. Deontay had to come back. Captain Clark already had nailed the nails in the coffin. Deontay just banged the coffin down halfway in the grave for him. And the assistant Mia, she's going by that pseudonym, came to tell her story. Multiple threats and firings was made because he was assaulting her. She didn't want it. And she was just like Cassie when it first happened. She said she was confused. It just happened. He brought her a drink. She felt like she was out of it. She started feeling woozy. Like, what they said was, it was crazy that for some reason he loved putting the paws on Cassie. And they said he would do it in front of anybody, in a party, anywhere. Wait till we get to those parts of the transcript. It's bad. It's bad. Now, Cassie's testimony is, heartbreaking. It's heart-wrenching. She's a strong witness, but, from what sources tell me, some other people that can corroborate her story are the stories are worse. They're just solid. It's solid. Like, you can kind of sense when somebody gets on the stand and they kind of like lying. You can kind of sense that. But these people are matter-of-factly saying, like, this is what happened. All other stories are lining up. Brother Love, you need to, that does not need to be part of your name. You need to be Diddy on top, Gucci on back. Anyhow, so who typically handed cash to the male paid workers? I often did, sometimes Sean. If you handed cash to the male paid workers, where did you get the cash? It was handed to me by Sean. He peer pressured the witness Maya to take substances. Exactly. And I put details to know who she is. There are other people that know who she is, but to protect the case, I gotta take my hat off to her that she knows who she is. She knows what her name is, and she refused to say it. So yeah, I don't know if you watched the video, she knows who the girl is, and she just said, "I'm not going to jeopardize the case." She's being responsible. Shout out to her for the responsible journalism, because that's what it is that she's out there doing. She's a content creator out there getting. I can see her, doing big things, because she has, like, the news stations and stuff are coming to her because everybody's talking about her. Like, she's doing a really great job covering this story, and so she needs to be prayed for and protected at all costs, because she's really giving us the gist of what's going on in the courtroom. And make sure she reads them super chats. Listen, y'all want me to read the super chats? That's on y'all. But it's just a mess. But anyway, how did Cash get to the location for the free calls? If you know, it was brought by like security or somebody, or he brought it himself. Yeah, she's doing her thing out here, and I applaud her. Like, I mean, one content creator may have messed it up for all the others, and it's really, really sad, because not only did he first of all, she put you on the channel, gave you her audience, and then now you're out there. What is wrong with him? Like, what is wrong with him? You're out there telling people that she don't like African American people. She one of them saying stuff about that the night girl over there, saying that she put her on her channel. What are you talking about? It is just so messy. And it doesn't do anything. You went down there messing with Gene Dale's town. Gene, I don't know. I didn't see where. Gene supposedly knocked him out. I didn't see where. I saw where he said he was going to. The interview, I forgot which channel this other guy is on. Yeah, that was funny. He kept saying, "My friend D Knot." Yeah, they were. Everybody was like, "Who is D Knot?" Oh, well, that ain't his name. That's what the guy said. D Knot. That's what he was calling him. Like, why are you down here doing that? But it's just content, because I saw the thumbnail. I don't go over there at all. I did see the thumbnail. Just to go viral. That's what it is. Why are you discrediting people's channels like that? That is crazy. What are you talking about? No, nobody can make me go over there and see if Tisa Tells went live, because I want to hear what's going on in the court. Nobody can tell me not to go over there. I don't skip to the beat of anybody's drawing here on YouTube. It is what it is. I don't know what type of issues they have with her. I don't have issues with her. I like her reporting. She's doing the daggone thing on, this case. This is how I stay up to date. So, other than that, it shouldn't take all that. You down there trying to discredit her. Because now what people are going to do is the people that are talking about it, even though you're going viral, they're telling them that you have some psychological issue. And that's what makes me, it made me kind of nervous as it relates to Tisa too. Not just, somebody from his camp possibly saying anything to her. This guy is out there putting out all these false narratives about her. It's really sad. and putting out these false narratives about Gene Dill. His name didn't come up because he wasn't there during this period of time. So his name didn't come up. So you helped fabricate the story. It's crazy. You put it up saying that, I'm not going to repeat what he said. But for me, whoever's friends with Gene, listen. Yeah, I just tell him just, I understand, but just stay away from him because he's trying to get some money. Go viral and get some money. It is not worth it. But when you start asking I couldn't believe he was peppering those type of questions off to him. And like trying to be, I don't know. Then I saw the video where he called this lady a stinking bitch. I said, this is just too much. He should be banned because he's the problem. He shouldn't even be allowed to stand in front of the courthouse. He's the issue. So that's it. That's all. I'm gonna just move on forward. So when you say he boarded himself, who is he? She says, Sean, you were hiring, for example, a for a dancer. Were there ever times when you were required to pay a deposit in advance? Yes, specifically with the dance at a company. How did you pay that deposit? I would put that on my personal card. Approximately how much did those deposits cost when you hired a dancer? Anywhere between $165 to $200. For the escorts who you interacted with, what were they paid thousands of dollars to do? I forgot what word made up for the he said that one. Yeah, and he left. Yep, he said that, and he was out of there because he said only worked for him part time. So anyway, so what would they pay thousands of dollars to do? So they were paid thousands of dollars to speejaculate. Speejaculate is the new word, y'all. Speejaculate to finish. Is that after they finish having X with you, after having X after a long session? And for all the dancers you interacted with at Freak Offs, were those individuals paid as well? Yes. How much were those dancers paid when they came to Freak Offs? Anywhere between that range that I said before, $1,500 to $6,000, $7,000. For all the dancers you interacted with, what were they paid those $1,500 to $6,000 to do? To entertain and to also ultimately have relations with me. Generally, what gender were the escorts who were hired for Freak Offs? Male. Were there any exceptions? No. We did have a female one or two times. Miss Ventura, there's a bonder sitting next to you. You see that binder sitting next to you? Could you look through that binder and at the photographs beside and let me know who you recognize those individuals to be? Would you like me to look at all of them? Yes, please. Have you looked at all of them? Yes. Who generally do you recognize the individuals depicted in those exhibits to be? Generally, they are paid male workers that we hired, but not everybody. Not everybody. Are some of them dancers? Some of them I don't recognize. We can go through them one by one. Do you want me to? You can leave that there. That's fine. Miss Gavin, can you please pull up government exhibit 2A? It's evident. Miss Ventura, we talked about this individual previously, right? Yes. We referred to him as the first paid male worker. Is that right? Correct. You know his name? I don't. I can't remember it. You earlier testified about a freak off with him in LA. Is that right? Yes. Are there any other cities in which you had freak offs with this male paid worker? Yes. Are there any other cities in which you have freak offs with this? Okay. Besides Los Angeles, definitely Vegas. Wait a minute. Okay, so she asked her, were there any other cities that she had freak offs with this? So she said, besides Los Angeles, definitely Vegas, maybe New York, but not 100% sure. You can take that down, Ms. Gavin. Can you please pull up Government Exhibit 2A612 for identification for the court and the parties only? Ms. Ventura, you recognize the individual depicted in 2A612? Yes. How do you know that individual? He was a paid worker that we call Dave. Is this a fair and accurate picture of Dave? Yes. Government offers Government Exhibit 2A. No objection will be admitted. Can you please publish that to the jury, Ms. Gavin? How did you hire Dave? Dave was actually through Craigslist or Backpage. One of the two. I don't remember specifically which one. In what cities did you use Dave? We used Dave in New York. He would fly to Miami and Los Angeles. He got flued out. That is considered sex trafficking. All those in the back. That is considered. Also, that's considered sex trafficking. There were so many she can't even recognize them. No, and she was so. All of the rugs that he introduced her to. She was not on rugs before him. She said that she took ecstasy unknowingly one time. Somebody had put it in their Gatorade or something. It's gonna come up, and she drank it. So, yeah. She started feeling weird, and she asked them, and they told her. Thank you for joining us, and Ali does have up. Don't forget to. Thank you for joining us. We are still trying to reach our 4K goal, so please hit the like button over here on YouTube, and you can hit the subscribe button. It's right next to the like button. So, Ali, did you ever get a chance to put the link in the X chat, the Twitter chat? Ali, can please? And thank you, ma'am. Thank you being so great. So when Dave would travel, who would arrange Dave's travel? Occasionally I did. Dave would himself. I think a couple of times, a travel agent from Sean's company. When you said he would, which he are you referring to, Dave? Do you know Dave by any other names? His real name was Clayton. God damn, oh, my name dropping in here like, woo. Do you know his real last name? Howard. Miss Johnson, can you take that down? Excuse me. Can you take that down, Miss Gavin? Can you pull up Government Exhibit 2A625 for the court and the parties only? Miss Ventura, do you recognize who's depicted in Government Exhibit 2A625? Yes. Who is that? That is Daniel. How do you know Daniel? Daniel was a paid worker that we hired in New York City at one point. Is this a fair and accurate picture of Daniel? Yes. The government offers Government Exhibit 2A625. Objection, it will be admitted. Can you please publish that to the jury? You mentioned you hired Daniel in New York. Is that right? Yes. A travel agent. Keywords. Worked for this company. The travel agent worked for the company. Rico. They were saying like there's no RICO, like just because people don't really, These people out here are still stuck on stupid. Some of them, and you can't. I mean, what are you going to do? Or they just don't believe, or they're just looking over this. And some of the reporters, or some of the other attorneys, you're not hearing what everything that's said in the court, right? And they're just going based on what is being reported by the news station, then getting on platforms saying, "Oh, this is not trafficking." And I know Nancy Grace is going off. Tell that attorney, you need to go back to law school. A lot of people don't like Nancy Grace. Nancy Grace is getting on my nerves, but I love her all the same. She just listen. He said, you need to go back to law school, because if you don't see, I said, get him, Nancy. Ooh, Nancy ain't playing with y'all. Conspiracy to commit RICO. So the reason why it will be a RICO case for him, he's what they were trying to charge Doug with. Like this empire, his empire is way off, way more. It's way more people under him, and he controlled. And they made an implication. It was implied because some evidence is missing, fingerprint evidence is missing, and so they implied that. They ask questions. The prosecution, does that ever happen? Like, well, why would evidence be destroyed? And they went crazy because they watch these channels just as much as anybody else does. They're watching the reporting. I know they definitely watch Cheesa Tells. Definitely. And they're hearing what the public is saying. They're seeing and hearing the public was saying. And when they go in the court the next day, here they go trying to make changes to the little situation. The judge is like, how about no? So, can you please publish that to the jury? You mentioned you hired Daniel in New York, is that right? And what service did you contact to hire Daniel? I believe it was a dancing service, but it's like, babe, you can take that down, Ms. Gavin. Can you pull up identification, government exhibit 2830? Do you recognize who depicted in government exhibit 2830? Yes. Who's that? That's Jules. Do you recognize Jules? I was going to say worked with him for many years, but yeah, we had encounters for a few years. You say encounters? What do you mean by that? For several. Really? Is that a fair and accurate photograph of Jules? Yes. The government office, government exhibit 28630. No objection. It will be admitted for this series of exhibits. If there's no objection, we'll deem it admitted. The judge cut it. We can shave some time off here. If they have no objection, just go on. It's admitted. Just go on and show it. That's his thing is, he's very respectful of the jury's time. He's very, respectful of, even the people that are sitting in the gallery. He's very respectful of people's time. And, he wants them to, he's very family oriented. He wants them to kind of live like, a normal life. I think they should be sequestered. It's too much. I mean, that's just what I believe. I believe that they should be sequestered, but okay. Can you publish that to the jury, Miss Gavin? Miss Ventura, do you know Jules' last name? I don't. You mentioned you have freak-offs with him for many years. In what cities did you have freak-offs with Jules? Los Angeles, New York, Miami, Vegas, all of them. You see that? There you go, right there, because you're paying for it. You're paying for prostitution. Thank you for that one for always. Prostitution. You're paying for that. Crossing state lines. Having these people travel to you. Is falls under the umbrella. Unfortunately, no. All right, let me just go ahead because some people just up to this point here, they're way past this point, but up to this point here, people are like, oh, no, nah, nah, domestic violence, probably assault, yeah. What they did in their private bedroom is not anybody. Did y'all not get that she didn't want to do all of this? Like, I'm really looking at some people sideways. I am. I am. I guess it could. I guess that it could disrupt the lives, but with all of the alleged tampering that has been going on in this case already, I think that it would have been a great thing to do. But this judge and his culture, they are heavily family oriented. They do things as family in that culture. And so based on that is probably how he made his decision. Because one day he told them when they first started, court was going to 5. And then he said that was the first week. Moving on, we're going to go to 3. That way, they can have some type of life to get some things done that they aren't able to do during the day because, they're all tied up. So, with the trial, no Diddy. But yeah, I think that if any juror should have been sequestered, this jury should have been sequestered. That's just my thought. For always that part. That's exactly why. Because it's just like, okay, so wait a minute. So the people that like, they're not lawyers, right? And they don't get it. And they say, some people are saying like, this is definitely just domestic violence. It should be in state court, not here, not in a federal court. At least those people are saying, no, this is definitely domestic violence. Like an assault, it should be in state court. It shouldn't be in federal court. At least those people are saying that. You're gonna have some people that say he didn't commit no crime at all. He did not. What did he do in the bedroom? That's his business. The man yesterday talking about people can sell their body if they want. No, that's prostitution, sir. In the United States of America, that is called prostitution. You cannot do that and get caught. How you think they be locking up pimps and ladies of the night? Because you will get it's prostitution. Unfortunately, it is, against the law. I think I want to say like in a couple of states, it's not. I'm forgetting where they are right now, but where if it's not, you flew Daniel out. You flew him out of the institution. It equals trafficking. Yeah, she wanted it. I never heard of grooming, but you know what? I'm used to that. When I did the series about Naziah Harris and the similarities between Naziah Harris and Ayanna Sawyer, I just listen. Like I'll put it over on TikTok that I'm doing it, but I just was blocking people. Ain't no way in the world you're gonna get on here talking about these fast behind girls. Are you crazy? Are you dumb? These girls' minds they're not even of age. Naziah is 13 years old. Ayanna Sawyer was 15 and 16 when Uncle John started on her. Are you really that dumb? Oh, you must groom children too. To be who? What? Okay. I kid you not, I'm not even responding. Just block. Because, no. You got some grown behind women that can't even handle this. Can't handle this type of stuff. Can't handle, abuse. That are able to be groomed. And he did it using violence first or just force. Oh no, it's just because he a black billionaire. Listen, he probably would have had a bail. He probably would have had a bail if he didn't call. If he wasn't calling people from jail trying to tamper and tell them not to come to court to testify and all that. He called your phone. You getting ready to be nervous on the other end. Well, he even calling me from jail. That's what people are not understanding. The reason why he got clink the day he did, because he had called somebody that could be a possible victim over 50-something times. So when his attorney said, oh, well, he was trying to help y'all, he came here and let y'all know where he was, so he wouldn't be, nah, he kind of like, he was going to be coming here anyway. He kind of was. He kind of was. And then guess what? Let me bring up the picture, because let me listen. I don't got time for these people. Let me just bring up the picture of what the day they arrested him. Listen. And this is just one of them. This is just one exhibit that is public now. Just look at the pink too, G. Stop playing. He had a freak off that day. So I'm wondering, because there was a young lady that was there when they got there, and I'm wondering if she's going to be testifying. What does being a billionaire mean? Absolutely nothing. So then they want to, let's not act like Harvey Weinstein is not doing time. Let's act like Ghislaine Maxwell is not doing time. Have everybody. Let me shut up before I say something I had no business saying. Yeah, there's some other people that should be, and they already. They haven't found guilty. The way this world is going right now, who knows? Yeah, should they? Yes, they should. But let's act like nobody. And because the guy from Abercrombie and Finch was incarcerated and he got a bail, he wasn't around here tampering with witnesses, putting the fear of Jesus in them. So that's it. Let's not act like Epstein wasn't a goner. No, it was a female too. There was a female there. Mm-hmm. She was there. I want to see if she's gonna come and testify. She was there. There was a woman there. Everybody thinking that the mule that got locked up on the jet with him is going to take the stand. If it's true, I read reports that says that he took a deal as a first-time offender and he got away without having to testify against, in this case, against Diddy. He doesn't have to. It's part of his deal. He doesn't have to. But if y'all don't think that he was in there saying, "Oh yeah, make this one was there on this day I saw that one when he called me for his order. Yeah, yeah, and I saw this one, and then I saw this one." If y'all don't think he's telling lying, y'all fools. But he's not. According to what they said his deal is, he does not have to testify in this case. He didn't. You're talking about the guy that was arrested on a plane, right? What is his full name? I gotta look it up again. Is that Jeffries? He didn't have a case. His case is already resolved. If that's the same guy you're talking about, I can't remember. He was trying. Yeah, and his family supposedly had money. He was a kid in college. Like, so yeah, he's not. His case is resolved. He got a deal where he does not have to testify. I think he's on like some type of probation for a short amount of time, and if he doesn't get in any more trouble, they're just going to remove it from his record. So if he's not coming in here testifying, yeah, just trust and believe he done told them some stuff, even if he don't have to come and testify. Could he have been a plant? It's very possible. Could he have been an informant? I'm just playing devil's advocate here. I'm just playing devil's advocate here, telling Jefferson said he ever come in impeachment. Okay, Finchman. So yeah, he wasn't tampering with witnesses. Tell him not to come and testify. That is what happened. This fool, as soon as you get out and you get caught, man, I don't know who the phone call, right? Everybody knows that phone calls when you are incarcerated are calling your kids talking about get rid of the pizza boxes. What you know what we talked about? Get rid of the pizza boxes. Daddy, pop, Diddy on top, Tucci on bottom. We all have heard of Pizzagate. But that includes something that he's not charged with yet. So I am not going to say that is, they have not introduced any evidence about that yet, up until this point. So I'm not going to do that. He does. See, this is the problem, right? This is the problem. There were reports made, right, in different instances that happened since criminal background. That is nowhere, there's no reports written or anything about them. The police was called, but there's no report. There is nothing. So just like when he went to that school and assaulted that coach, Justin's coach, because you wouldn't put your son in the game. I'm wondering if they're going to have them testify. Are they going to bring him in here and have him testify? See, what he doesn't understand, and I guess his attorney should tell him, even if somebody has an NDA, once you introduce crime into the situation, your NDA is null and void. Normally people use NDAs when they're not using them, to cover up crimes. If it's like, okay, yeah, for reasons like I won't check into a hotel in my own name because I don't want people finding out that I'm here, or I don't want you to talk about not situations like Diddy's, but like where you come to work at. I don't want these addresses. I don't talk about it. If we're working on something that has not been released yet, I don't want you talking about this project. When it's released, you can. That's the same way if you work for a pharmaceutical company, right? And they have stock. It's the same thing for I'm just using this as a comparison, right? So if you are, they say I work for a pharmaceutical company and they had stock, and within the company, because I work there, they said, okay, On this day, we're going to split the stock. So that means, like, if I have stock that costs $50 and I bought it, once they split it, say they changed the price to $25. So because I bought it at 50, now I get 2 shares of it. So I get double of everything that I already had. It's like getting like free stock. And normally when they do that, the prices of the stock goes up. Now you as an employee cannot, and I'm not even talking about the big people that's out there. I'm talking about just being an employee for a pharmaceutical company. You got this information that the stock is going to drop. I'm not even supposed to tell my husband that the stock is going to drop and go buy some stock, because it is going to go back up. But it's dropping on this day. Go over there and get, 5,000 shares of stock. And they find out that that's what I did. Clink, clink. It is a crime, punishable. It's a punishable crime. You can do time for it. Martha Stewart would think she was doing time. So yeah, it's crazy. Let's get back to this. So, Ms. Ventura, do you recognize the individual depicted in Government Exhibit 28609? She says yes. Who is that? I knew him as the Punisher. And we all know the Punisher already testified. He was witness number 2. All right. So, how did you know the Punisher? Used a few times for free calls. Is this a fair and accurate photograph of the Punisher? Yeah. Government offers Government Exhibit 28609. No objection. Can you just put that to the jury, Ms. Cabin? Ms. Ventura, did you know the Punisher's real name? No. And what city was he used? I believe we originally hired him in New York. I don't know that he traveled. I don't think he did. Do you recall how he was hired? I believe he was hired through a dancing service in New York. You take that down, Ms. Gavin. Can you pull up for identification, Government Exhibit 28613? Baby. This next exhibit. This next exhibit. Let me read it first. Yes. Who is that? I knew him or know him as Johnny. I don't know his last name. How do you know Johnny? He was an escort that we hired. Is this the fair and accurate photo of Johnny? Yes. That is Jonathan Odie. People, that is Jonathan Odie. Odie. I don't know if the O in his name is short or long. Odie, I don't know. But that's him. And she just said, yeah, that's Johnny. Insider trading. Yep, that's what it's called. But that's Johnny. Yeah. What? So we're connecting the dots here? Are we connecting dots here? Because, baby, I read to y'all yesterday, if you were here yesterday, I pulled up the article to show y'all. And we read it and went through it about how, I almost fell out. I had heard this, I almost fell out. So the government offers Government Exhibit 28613. No objection. Can you please publish it to the jury? So guess what? That non-disclosure agreement that he signed for his settlement. Yeah, they might as well toss that out in the sea with the fishes. I want to see if they're gonna bring him in to testify. I'm gonna have to I'm gonna have to look him up and track. Is he still in Miami or is he being transferred? Ooh. He was hired in Los Angeles. In what city or cities did you hire Johnny? He was hired in Los Angeles. Might have done some traveling to New York and Miami, but not 100%. How did you hire Johnny if you remember? Johnny was to a service called Latin Men. Miss Gavin, you can take that down. I thought that he was hired through something called the Dancing Bear. Is it Dancing Bear? Something like that. I know that I looked it up and I hurried and close. It was when it first came out. Let me tell you something. I was in it. I was looking like, let me listen to this. I had to close that thing immediately because it was just like, oh hell, HE double L hockey sticks. No, oh, it was too much. Like I said, wait a minute. I'm slow. They got places like this. Child. Some of y'all out there be like, listen, I'm no Mother Teresa, but that is next level stuff. But anyway, she said he was on Latin Men. Okay. So Miss Gavin, you can take that down. Who were some of the most frequently used as paid workers? Most frequently we use Jules, Dave, and Johnny. I think those were the main ones. And we just looked at 6 photos of paid workers. Are those all of the paid workers hired for free clothes or just some of them? Just some of them. We talked about travel a little bit with Dave. How, if you know, would travel be arranged for other paid workers? For other paid workers, I mean, we didn't have a whole lot of them travel, but there was one particular trip that we took to Ibiza. And one of Garen's guys flew out there. So I think the travel was probably arranged by them. Yeah, I don't what. I'm reading from the transcripts, people. This is stuff that went over people's head. Y'all was just so busy just sticking to like just wanted to make Cassie out the bad guy and it's all her fault. She don't need the general public doing that. These attorneys are doing, they were doing a fine enough banged up job doing that. I don't think they need your help. I wouldn't help them. Not with all the money they're getting paid. Yeah, it's Naya. Yeah, it's out. That's out of the country. Let me see exactly where it is. They're getting paid a whole lot of money. Their profession and their pay. Oh, Demikian Garlington was sentenced. Okay, the M charge was dropped. Oh, wait a minute, I have to see. It's an island in the Mediterranean Sea. Balearic Island, an archipelago of Spain in the Mediterranean Sea, well known for the lively nightlife in Ibiza town in Sant Antoni, where major European nightclubs have summer outposts. It's also home to quiet villages, yoga retreats, and beaches from Plata ben Bossa, lined with hotels, bars, and shops. Acquire sandy cold backed by pine-clad hills found all around the coast. hmm Oh yeah. That's what it is. Okay, it's an island. You never flew out. You never flew out to the island. All right, y'all. Just make sure that you know. All right, so he done got flued out, child. So, when, if ever, did you book as paid workers travel? Occasionally, like if we absolutely needed to, it wasn't all the time. Before booking any paid worker travel, what any conversations would you have with Sean about booking travel? I mean, he would ask me like what we were doing, if we were flying somebody in who's available, and from there, talk about how to get them there if they weren't in the town or they weren't in the city. What would he say about when you say he talked about how to get them there? What would he say? Do they need to fly in? Do they need to travel, or are they here? Just basic questions. Child. And y'all, you also mentioned with respect to Dave that Sean's travel agent was sometimes involved. Do you remember that? Yeah. What, if any, role did you have in communicating with Sean's travel agent? I definitely reached out to his travel agent. I believe we just acted as if it was a new employee or somebody that was being interviewed. Yeah. When you say we acted, who are you referring to? Sean and I. That's why I'm telling you, I believe that they get past the immunity. Yeah. Even if she, was, abused or something like that, which she was. I'm not gonna say that. We got photos. We got the video, and she was, the way she was dragged in that video, she was dragged way more, many more times than what we saw. She still could be charged. They have ignorance of the law is not a defense, right? Because you don't know. That's why you should never do anything with anybody, because ignorance of the law is not a defense. You're gonna do some time unless you're given immunity. You're gonna do some time. You put that out there. Something I always knew. Not a defense. I'm sorry, my daughter was walking kind of hard. I'm like, what was that? Hold on, man. No. So, and when you say acted as an employee, who would you say was a new employee? Dave, for instance, if we were going to have the travel agent book his travel, or, oh, I have a new staff member. We have somebody new coming to visit for a meeting, so that it wouldn't be speculated. Why was it necessary to tell the travel agent that Dave, for example, was a new employee? It was important to Sean not to have his identity known. Speculation. That what, if any, discussions did you have with Sean about communicating with the travel agent? Can you repeat that? Sorry. It's okay. We were talking about reaching out to the travel agent. Did you discuss that? Reach out with Sean? Yes. What did you talk about? I mean, it was by his direction, so we would discuss when they would arrive and when we would start. We testified earlier about using some rugs at off. Do you remember that testimony? Yep. Specifically, we talked about using ecstasy at the first off. Is that right? Yes. Did you use drugs at other freak offs? Yes. How many? All kinds. Let me rephrase that question. It's Ventura. How many freak offs did you use drugs at? Rugs at? Oh, all of them. Why did you use rugs at every freak off? For me, it was dissociative and numbing. I couldn't imagine myself doing any of that without having some sort of buffer or just way to not feel it for what it really was, which was emotionless and the stranger that I didn't want to be having sex with. Who else besides you used drugs at freak offs? Sean did, and occasionally the paid worker. But I wasn't always clear on that. Were there any freak offs where you did not use drugs? No, not that I remember, no. You talked earlier about using ecstasy at the first freak off. What other drugs, if any, did you use at freak off? At freak off, marijuana, ketamine, GHB, sometimes mushrooms. We was just effed up. Yeah, she had to get immunity. Had to. Just whatever was the drug of choice at that point. Who provided the rugs for the freak offs? Sean. When in relation to the session starting, will Sean provide you with rugs before, sometimes an hour before, sometimes before we even got there, somebody would drop rugs off to me where I was. When you say somebody would drop off rugs to you, who dropped off rugs to you? A staff member, security, assistant, whoever was available. When you say staff, who's staff? Rugs to you. Sean's staff. Whose security dropped off rugs for you? Sean's security. How did you know how far it is to the rug? I would ask. Who would you ask? Sean. Miss Gavin, can you please pull up Government Exhibit B244 for identification for the court and the parties only? If you could pull up page 1 and 2, page 2, side by side. Miss Ventura, do you recognize the document that's marked Government Exhibit B-244? Yes. What generally is this document? It's a text message between me and Sean. Is this a fair and accurate text message between you and Sean? Yes. The government office, Government Exhibit B244. May I have a moment? You may. No objection. The exhibit will be admitted. Miss Gavin, can you please publish the exhibit for the jury? Miss Ventura, focusing first on the left hand of the page, who are the participants in this conversation? Sean and I. And focusing on the right hand side of the screen, at the very top, what is the date of the first blue bubble? April 6th of 2013. For a few pages, I'm going to read the gray bubbles and you read the blue bubbles, and you start with that first blue bubble. Okay, I'm about to touch down. Call me as soon as you hit. I'm happy. Call apartment room in London, 5301 Sally Richards. That is Diddy in the text message. So pausing there before we go on, what is your understanding of what Sean's text RM in London Sally 5301 Sally Richards means? The room number is 501 and Sally Richards is the name under the room. For always, so this is a good question, right? This is a good, thing here. I take mental health very seriously. So it was reported that she tried to end it all because of the memories that she had coming back to her about this after her second child. She still takes supposed to be Suboxone for to combat having those cravings. So I know people would be like, well, she been She's been separating him for so long, right? So this is where I jump in here. I never thought it was a thing, right? So I used to manage this program for fentanyl because it was so bad, oh boy, it was okay as long as it wasn't getting into the rich area. Girl, once it started hitting those rich neighborhoods, it's horrible, it's terrible when you do something about it. So they have these programs that you only can get a drug gift. You had to be in the program. You had to be like adhering to the guidelines. It was a way the doctor had to prescribe it. It was a way the pharmacies would dispense it. It was a whole big deal for them to dispense. So what happened was like they had prosecuted some doctors because they were prescribing the fentanyl in doses that you would not believe. You would not believe. And I could not believe I had got a call from this one lady. And she said, I received some paperwork or something from you guys. And she was like, I haven't been on, I stopped doing this stuff. She said, she said about 9 or 8 years ago. And she said, and I still am having trouble with craving it. I don't know why y'all got me on y'all list, but remove me, please. I said, ma'am, listen. So yeah. So the reason why, the notices were going out was for that reason, to confirm whether or not you were still taking the medication or, just, before we just go ahead and remove you, we need to confirm that, even if it doesn't say here. And that's how we were able to catch a lot of people. Pharmacies would not be following the guidelines and, they would be shut down because it was a thing. So unfortunately, they are removing those programs. And what is so crazy to me is that in order to take the fentanyl products, you had to already be on another opioid. How the hell hard do y'all want them to be? I understand it's for the pain, and it's supposed to be used for breakthrough pain, right? If they're taking something every 4 to 6 hours in addition to already taking another opioid, I'm like, what kind of sense does this make? But the thing was that they couldn't prescribe this drug to people the way they were prescribing it before the program was introduced. So yeah, they have these programs, and the company that I used to work for, we were the blueprint for these programs. We had a program, a REMS program, not with fentanyl, it was with cancer though. So we had a program way before all of these other pharmaceutical companies. It was a small company, but it was really big when it related to the cancer drugs that that they manufactured or whatever. But yeah. So and Suboxone is something that they give you to combat cravings and stuff for these things. But that coupled with the memories that she had that were coming back to her, one day she told Alex, I'm going to just run into traffic and that I can't take these thoughts anymore. And she had the 2 children already. So before she was pregnant with the 3rd. That is the saddest thing ever. And once again, Alex had to say, and somebody said, Alex is probably waiting for her so he can say she's not mentally stable and take the kids and get the money that she got. And I'm like, did y'all know that she almost tried to end it all? Not too long ago, tried to end it all because it's too much. This It's a lot. Like you said, it's a lot for us to read. So imagine going through it. Like, I don't play with mental health because a lot of people are mentally ill for different reasons. Just living today. I was driving home, I was trying to get here to the people because, I enjoy reading this too and getting all into this. But yeah, I knew I scheduled it. I'm trying to put, a schedule here so that like we can get through this. But and I saw this line out of this church. When I tell you there was all sorts of people, races, nationalities, these people were not homeless. It's just that, right now in this economy, it is hard for some people to eat food, to get food to eat. And it just, it kind of like saddened me because like, what are we doing? Like, a lot of people, I tell my niece has a heart condition. And a new director started working at her job, so she has a defibrillator. And this person was harassing her. My niece is very quiet and reserved. She never was one of them girls to ever go out to clubs. She didn't need to get through that phase, none of that. My youngest niece. And this lady at her job, like, so she had blacked out. But they can tell by the defibrillator how long it's been happening. Normally when it happens, she wouldn't pass out the way she passed out, right? So then it started around the time this lady came on the job. My niece is in the hospital. She calls her and says, I'm not going to be in today or tomorrow. I'm at the hospital, right? She didn't tell nobody. And that's what she's supposed to do. And her doctors was like, there's no way that we are letting you go back to work. I need to be out for 6 months because we don't want you driving. She called and she told her, she said, well, I'm going to need you to send me your paperwork because you need to tell us a little bit more about what's wrong with them. False. No, baby, no. I said, she is a lawsuit waiting to happen. You don't have to tell her anything. You listen, you need to call HR. With my niece, she already had called HR. Her husband was like, I got it. I'm going to call them, because she has heart conditions, for Pete's sake. She's in the hospital. And they HR told her, well, she had told her director, my niece was like, no call, no show. What? So her director, my niece is her director, she's like, this is not looking good for you, or no call, no show. I told her, I called that up at first. I didn't know they was going to keep me in the hospital. I didn't know they were going to tell me that you need to send in the paperwork. So HR says, you don't need to send them anything. Listen, lady in HR, like, listen, I'm not losing my job. She says, as a matter of fact, don't even talk to them no more. I said, yeah, you don't have to talk to them anymore. You have to file with the insurance company that handles your short-term, long-term, whatever, short-term disability. They fill out paperwork, send them to where they need to be. Trust me, they're not sending your doctor's records to HR either. You're going to get a broad letter. Hi, I am Dr. So-and-so. You can say, and basically it's just going to say that she's out of work under my care. Like, her name is out of work from this time to this point because she's under my care. She is not able to work at all. So my niece was like, they're gonna fire me. I said, they can't. They cannot. You're protected. You are protected. Protected for up to her job is 3 months. They can't party. And then HR told her, no, we can't let you go. She said to me, but they did it before. They wasn't supposed to. That's a big lawsuit. You have a time limit, right? If they say 6 months and they said you have 3 months job protection, after 3 months they can let you go and say they needed to fill this position. But before that, no, they cannot. And so a lot of people don't know that, and they get bullied by supervisors, managers all the time. Get bullied into telling them what is wrong with them. But then there's something that for me, if I apply for a job, I tell them straight from the gate, I'm a breast cancer survivor. I'm a breast cancer survivor. I'm happy to be surviving and going into. I'll soon be an 18-year breast cancer survivor. You know how you look at it, because it could be March. That's when I was diagnosed, but I wasn't cleared to, October. So I always just use the October date, right? But I'll tell somebody, when I got laid off, I was interviewing. I'm like, yeah, what's going on? Yeah, how y'all doing? Well, I'm a breast cancer survivor. Just wanted to, make that clear that sometimes I need to go and get like routine things, checked. I make that clear. They know, right? There's something called the Disabilities of America's Act. Now, I'm one of them people. I fall under that. Do I use it to my advantage? No, I don't. Because I don't want nothing to happen to me because, me harm because I'm playing around, being fake sick. No, I don't do that. But you're going to know, because I don't know what's going to happen, but you already know. You can tell them that, and you don't have to tell them anything else after that, but you're just letting them know up from, hey, this is what it is. Yeah. I had a supervisor at my old job when I was working, right? I went out, had chemo treatment, came back. I started having issues to the point where I couldn't even wear shoes. I was falling asleep. I was asleep at the wheel. This is why my faith is so strong. Like I've been through some things, right? I fell asleep at the wheel in the middle of a highway during rush hour at a light. Traffic stop. I'm on my way to work. I fell asleep. I woke up because somebody was banging on the window. Are you all right? Are you all right? Do you need us to call? Thank goodness my foot didn't slip off the brake. Are you all right? Are you all right? Do you need us to call anybody? And then I was like, no, I'm okay. When I got to work, I think I was about 7 minutes late. And the supervisor was like, oh, well, this is going to go down as. I said, yeah, I'm tired. I done had it with you. HR, I need to have a meeting with y'all. We need to meet. This is important. Be on time. Act like. I walked into that lady's office and she said, what the H-E double hockey? Right? And I said, yeah, I don't know what's going on. I said, but they are using, I forgot what they call them. It's things against you. I said, like candy. I said, and I try not to, but I know I'm covered. She said, I need you to sit down. I said, yeah. She said, why are your feet that big? My feet are normally flat, man. I don't know what's going on. I can't even wear no shoes. It's against policy that we wearing flip-flops. But listen, I can't put on no shoes. But they keep dinging people. Well, she said, well, no. No. She said, I need you to go back to your desk Call your doctor, make an appointment. And she's like, I'm going to send out. She had to call their legal department. And they was like, oh, heck no. She sent me an email, the email to the supervisor. She copied the legal department on it. She is allowed to go to work on our time. She is allowed to go to the doctor on our time, anytime anything is wrong with her. Yeah. I made an appointment. And I'm like, my doctor told me to come in right away. I'm leaving. The supervisor's going to tell me what you using sick or vacation time. I said, let me go back to my desk and check. Hello, I made an appointment. The doctor told me to come in right away. The supervisor wants to know whether I'm using sick or vacation time, because I know she read the same email. She on the same email that I'm on. I put it right in the email chain. She said, hello, I would have advised you that she is to go to the doctor on our time. She's getting paid. She doesn't need to use any sick time. Or you don't need to. You just need to, when you do the hours, you need to pay her. Like, what don't you understand? These people that want a lawsuit, are you crazy? All because you think you around here throwing your weight around. I got tired. You realize like this is way after I had cancer. Like, so, people just do things that are just so uncouth, and they try to get away with things. So, like, I try to tell anybody, anytime you have an illness where it is going to be like they call, like, when you go for something else, do you have any pre-existing conditions? Yeah, I had triple negative breast cancer, y'all. Pre-existing conditions. Anything else that happens, anything else that goes wrong to me, that's the first thing that they ask. You have any pre-existing conditions? No, I sure do. Ever been diagnosed with anything like that, heart disease, any of this stuff? They have a whole list in your HR department. People need to get it and they need to read it. They cannot terminate you because you need to go to the doctor because you're covered by the Disabilities Act of America. Point blank, period, and end of freaking story. And it is against HIPAA laws. You are absolutely right for always. Be asking you for documentation, telling them what is going on with you. No, you don't need to. I just need to be under a licensed physician, and he needs to say she's on disability because from this time to this time under my care. That's it. That's all. That's the broad letter that they get. Baby's crying. Somebody needs to know. No, ma'am. They can't. No, ma'am. And I said, and you don't need to give her nothing. She wants to be nosy. Oh, I don't even talk to her anymore. As you should not talk to her anymore. If you can see somebody else. Because, baby, what are we doing? You just be doing anything to anyone. It just bothers me so much. Just people out here that's not complaining. They're not. My niece is very young. She is young with, heart condition. She tries to work through it. But, sometimes you just can't. Because the doctor said you can't drive. She can't drive. I said, you should have called me last time. I would have told you. What? They did what? They fired her and rehired her. I can't. Not this time, no. They're not getting that off again. No, I told her no. You should have called and told me that. I would have told you exactly what you needed to do, and you could have asked the doctor, and the doctor would have told you. Yeah, you just get the disability paperwork since they are the ones that's taking you out, and Yeah. Anyway. So she asked us, pause in here before we go on. What is your understanding of what Sean's text RM in London? Sally 501, Sally Richards mean that's the room number is 501, and Sally Richards is the name under the room. At what hotel is the room at? It says the London. So continuing on, if you can, with the blue bottom at the page, it says, K, bags came out that quick. Miss Gavin, can we please do page 3 and 4? So this is Cassie, all set. What time do I tell him? What do you think time is supposed to say? Time? 3 a.m. Oh, Punisher. His dad has Punisher will come at 6. His dad passes. Pass. The other word that we can't say here on. Punisher will come at 6. Then she said passed 10, and so passed away. Pausing you there, is this the same Punisher whose photograph we looked at a few minutes ago? Yes. Yeah. So continuing on down, yeah, we forgot about Daniel. He's like having, we forgot about Daniel. He's like having a baby or something. He hit me a little while back. So pausing you there, the reference to the name Daniel is that the same Daniel we just looked at the photograph of. This is really confusing right here. I'm not really. And she said yes. Continuing on, what you think Garen just hit me back? Oh, okay. Hit me is not. No, that's me. No, I guess I need to go to bed. Continuing on, what you think Garen just hit me back? We had him before. White boy named William. So him or Daniel? I'm good with whatever. Now, Diddy said he good with whatever. Let's just do that. Checking on Daniel's availability. Miss Gavin, can you turn to the next pages, please? She says, Cassie says in the text that says, can't buy Astro. It's too much. I'm buying crazy stuff. He says, okay, laugh out loud. I got it. Laugh out loud. She said, laugh out loud. Cool. When should I take the thing? Daniel isn't hitting back. Just pausing you there to talk about 2 text messages. When you say you can't buy the Astro, what does Astro refer to? The lubricant Astroglide. And the next blue bubble, when it says laugh out loud, cool. When should I take the thing? What does the thing refer to? The thing refers to the drugs, ecstasy, or MDMA. Continuing on. Okay, so book other through Garen. Want me to hit Garen? All set. When shall I take it? Where is it? When will you be there? Pausing you there. What are you talking about taking in that text messages? Drugs. Like, when do I take it? And the next message from Sean says it's in med bag. What's the med bag? The med bag is where Sean kept his medicine. It's a Louis Vuitton bag and occasionally kept other rugs in there. Yeah, it came out in court the other day that he used that same bag when he was with Kim Porter. So when you say other rugs, what other rugs are you referring to? To ecstasy, MDMA, party, more party rugs. So can you continue reading the blue, please? Yes. Did you book with Garen? That's Diddy. Yes. 3 a.m. The white guy. Did you want to take now and push up to 245? This is Diddy. And that message, what is your understanding of what Sean is asking you of what you want to take now? The rugs, and to push up the time of the paid worker. To push up the time for earlier, yeah, to push it up earlier. Miss Gavin, can we turn to the next 2 pages, please? So continuing on, push up to 245, or I can, no, that's 45 minutes. You said you'll be here in 20. I haven't even seen you. She said, damn. When you say no, that's in 45 minutes. You said you will be here in 20. I haven't even seen you. Damn. Why did you say that? Because I wanted to see Sean before we started doing anything. Did you want to see Sean before we started taking rugs? Yeah. I wanted to just see him before all of this. So continuing to read, laughed out loud. I'm ready. Did you get orange peel? No, you told me not to take. Can you take now? It's the orange in the 5 HTP bottle. Okay. He says, I took mine. She says, okay, getting now. He says, I'm flying. Meet me. She says, orange or yellow. Wasn't you there when Sean says I'm flying? Meet me. What is your understanding of what I'm flying means? He's high. And when you say orange or yellow, what does Sean respond? Orange. At the bottom of the message, what does Sean say? Have a drink too. Miss Gavin, we can take that down. Miss Ventura, if you didn't take rugs before reaching the location of the freak off, at what point would you take rugs when you reached the location? Immediately after or when I actually got with Sean. And relative to when a paid worker would arrive, when did you typically take rugs before? In addition to taking rugs at the beginning of the freak off, how often did you take rugs during the freak off? All the time. How did you get more rugs? If we ran out, you could call people, friends, or rug dealers, or whoever at the time. Backing up a little, when you said you took rugs all the time throughout the freak off, approximately how frequently would that be? During a freak off or just, sorry, no problem. How long would the high last typically, the high lap last if you took, for example, ecstasy? Like 3 to 4 hours, and then would take more because the sessions were quite long. So if you took ecstasy, would you typically need to take more ecstasy every 4 hours when the high would run out? Yeah. And when that would happen, how would you get more ecstasy to take? He either had it or would have it brought to the room. Hey, Bo, do you hear what she just said? Baby, that plays right into the recap. People said, no, well, he didn't have the rugs to sell it. No, he was providing it to her. Hold on, y'all. I got to change this thing I caught it this time. It's not going to cut me off. I see ya. Yeah. So it's not 43. So yeah. I'm gonna be wrapping up soon here anyway. I do have an early appointment in the morning, and yeah. So this is all crazy work. Crazy work, I tell you. This is crazy. You know, would you ever think, would you ever believe, you know, would you ever think? I don't think I ever thought. I just don't. I don't like, I'm talking about the drug part. I'm just talking about the drug part. I would have never thought. I mean, you know, it's no shame, they said, in Hollywood is like candy. That's how they use it, like candy. But I still would have never thought. So, it's crazy. Either he would contact or I would make also. And if more rugs needed to be brought to the room, how would you get more rugs? Either that he would contact or I would make contact with his contact to bring more. Who would you contact for additional rugs, if anyone? Rug dealers, friends, assistants, whoever had it at that point. And when you say assistants, whose assistants would be contacted? Sean. So when you decided to take more rugs during the free call, and the high was wearing off, why did you take more rugs? For me, to just remain high and not like be present with the experience. Why did you not want to be present with the experience? Because it was something I hated doing. Circling back on bringing additional rugs to contact the individuals we discussed, were you present when anyone dropped off additional rugs? Sometimes, but it was a really brief thing. We brought additional rugs to free calls. Again, friends, whoever had the hookup of the rug of the moment. So that could be a rug dealer, it could be a friend, it could be an assistant, anyone of Sean's, because I didn't have any of those things. So you testified earlier that ecstasy is typically a pressed pill. Do you remember that? Yeah. How does ecstasy make you feel? It's a euphoric feeling. I don't really know what's in it, the pressed pill. You're more sensitive, you're more aroused, you even just feel more actual, I would say. You also mentioned taking MDMA. What does MDMA look like? Look like it's like a crystallized rug, and you can crush it up and turn it into powder and ingest it. How would you take MDMA? Put it in a drink, usually. So how does MDMA make you feel? Very similar to ecstasy, just kind of euphoric. Everything feels light and nice, and yeah. When, if ever, did taking drugs make you feel sick? Often. I used to get sick a lot, but my stomach used to not agree well with ecstasy especially, but MDMA as well. How often would you get sick from taking MDMA or ecstasy? Almost every time, like before the actual high hit, I would feel like vomiting. It was usually like a normal thing. It was normal to feel like you had. Would you vomit or would you just feel nauseous? I would actually vomit, yeah. You sure know about the effects that ecstasy and MDMA had on you? Yeah, how? Because he would see me in the bathroom or I would tell him, so he would just know. What, if anything, would Sean say when you got sick from MDMA or ecstasy? He didn't say much, but if we were in the free walk, he would be encouraging me to get up and continue on with it in that condition. What? When you say continue on with it, what are you referring to? Continue the freak off, continue the relations, even though I felt like vomiting or that I was. You got to be a sick individual. You got to be really, really sick. See somebody that's sick. Yeah, there's no boundaries. He doesn't have any boundaries when it comes to anything. Wow, no. So besides ecstasy and MDMA, what many other drugs were used at free calls? I said cocaine, GHB, ketamine, weed, and shroom. How does ketamine make you feel? Ketamine for me is dissociative. Like you can be there but not mentally be there at Oh. And how does GHB make you feel? I would say that GHB makes you feel kind of drunk, a little bit tipsy. How about Snow Schnane? How does Snow Schnane make you feel? Snow Schnane makes my heart race. I was never a huge fan. You also mentioned shrooms. How do shrooms make you feel? They are psychedelic. You can see things. I feel like the walls come alive. No, yeah, what? Girl, I know way in. I don't want to be looking at no walls that look like they are alive. Child, this is too much. So what does that mean? The walls come alive. Everything has life to it when you're taking those kinds of drugs, like psychedelics. Have you ever used the phrase the turn up? Yes. What have you used that to refer to? To rugs, to party. And of the rugs we've discussed, what are rugs that you would take to party? Ecstasy and MDMA would be the main ones. And how, if at all, did taking the rugs we just discussed assist in actual arousal? They always did. Would it be okay to take a quick break? Your Honor, is that okay? The court, of course. It's 4 o'clock. Let's come back at 4:10. The witness says thank you, and he says all rise for the jury. So let's see what he says to the court, and then we're going to end it here. Tripping for always. Tripping. Okay? That is crazy. That's crazy. Like, I'm nauseous. Or, and you talk about come back to the Greek. Oh. All right, we'll be back in 10 minutes. Thank you. So Cassie says thank you. The court, let's come back. Please be seated. We're just waiting for Ms. Ventura. Yes. So they're back in. The jury is back in. I got something to take here in the morning with my mama. So I got to be up and out of this house early tomorrow. So, sister girl, getting ready to, I'm about to take it all the way down to the ground. Because I was tired. Because no thank you. Can we take a break? Because no thank you. What? Yeah. This doesn't seem too much. If all of the people that are saying otherwise, a lot of times when you hear a lot of men say stuff like that, more than likely they're probably doing, they're probably abusing women, not as bad. When you hear women say it, it can also be someone that's being an abuser, but not to the levels of Diddy, or it's a woman that can't get it out of their mind that Diddy is this monster, and they are like, where's my chance? I seen people say what? He was paid. So this is Miami monthly. At one point, he was giving her $500K a month, and then he cut it to $250K. And that people I would sign up for that. Not me. I'm gonna stay in my financial lane. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm not signing up for that. That's crazy. I don't care how good you look when you step out. But the thing with Young Miami is, now this is, it's not. I'm not gonna say alleged because I'm not saying that she took anything. I'm just saying that they said that one time they didn't have too cheap. This was way after Cassie. Now she's in the spotlight, showing up with everywhere shopping. They out making videos, making songs. If you look good, act bad. If you look good, act bad. So now all of y'all should look at that song a little differently, baby, because act bad means. And remember, she used to be on them islands, but she be the only one. She only show herself. I got food out. Yeah, my man flew me out. What's going on in the background, Young Miami? He just gave you a minute to take. What was really going on? Because if you look at the videos that I looked at, with the whole family on vacation, kids, At this point, I guess he had started letting Cassie come on vacation with them. But like I said, for most of the video that I watched, Cassie was not present. And then she pops up. So a lot of times he wouldn't even allow Cassie to come and sit out in the party. You don't come out till I say you can come out. And one family vacation that they were on, Montana, why you at everything? This is what I'm saying. This is a family vacation. I ain't really seen too many of them. Fresh Montana, come to the front. You got some explaining to do. Tell us what's going on, girl. You all in the videos with the family. Didn't we already saw those videos he was in just in a towel, just doing too much. Come to the front, right? Yeah. I'm just saying. I would like to know Young Miami. I want to speak to Young Miami, not Carisha. Yeah, Young Miami, because you said Young Miami is different. Young Miami and Carisha are two different people. I want to speak to Young Miami. What the hell is going on? If Young Miami had not been dealing with Puffy as long as like a Cassie or even a Gina, well, and Gina was dealt with, sparingly. I'm going to put it like that. So, well, anyway, we never really we wouldn't have known about Gina. We wouldn't have known anything about Gina if Gina didn't do the interview with Tasha K. And that's because she was tired of being unknown. Right? That's my boyfriend, too. You wouldn't have known about Gina. Right? So, but to see Cassie now in those videos, like Veneer on vacation, it's always dark. She's very thin. And not just her, but everybody at the party is trying to make him happy because he's in a mood. And they need to make him happy. We need to do something to make him happy. Captain Clark said on her in her testimony, I'm the one that needed to make sure that he remained happy. That is a lot of what they were. That meaning, give him what he wants, whatever it is. Take care of whatever he wants, whatever it is, whatever he needs. Most of his stuff, I believe, was wants. So we're going to end it right there. Like I said, Cassie was on the stand for a very long time, over the course of a couple of days. And so we're going to get back into reading. I'll try to gauge and see what time I'm going to be done, finished tomorrow, running around. But more than likely, it'll probably be 6 o'clock. So around 6, somewhere like that. Yeah. So I'm going to end the show like I normally do by advising you that men get breast cancer too. Because of the stigma surrounding the word breast, we have changed the word to chest and/or pec cancer over here. Let's continue to end the stigma and keep, and continue to bring the awareness that men get breast cancer too. And to all of my ladies, Please make sure that you are getting your mammograms, filling on your boobies to make sure that you are all right. All right. And don't you dare let anybody come into your house and disturb the peace that passes all understanding. I am Survivor Speaks, and I will see you guys in the next live stream so we can continue. Look at I'm tired, y'all. Continue the reading of the official transcripts of the case, the United States against Sean Combs, aka Diddy, aka Love, aka Brother Love, aka Puff Daddy, aka Pop Pop, aka Poppy, aka Diddy on top, Tunchi on the bottom. I'll see you guys later. Peace. Thanks for hanging out with me.
Survivor Speaks is the name at the end of the day. People love me or hate me, I don't care either way. Breast cancer busted through like a leaf in the night. A cancer's ass is knocked out before the end of the fight. A champion coming through, knocking everything out. Just call if you see, I do nothing for clout. Just like cancer, I'll let nothing take me out. So be respectful when you step foot inside of my house. Hold it clear to have your ass escorted on out. So hop up out the bushes, wipe your feet, take a seat, and get comfortable and chill with your girl. Survivor Speaks, yeah. Hey, hey, hey. Who, what? I'm Survivor Speaks. What time is it? What time is it? It's time for you to hit that like and subscribe button and turn on that notification bell so you get a notification each and every time that I go live. Yeah.